Oh, hello. Welcome to our love fest on Doctor Who, to be honest. Um, John will be with us, and we may get Jeremy as well. So bear with us while we just get ourselves ready. People go to work, of course. So, our beloved third Doctor, our surrogate granddad, had regenerated into this wide-eyed, wild-haired imposter. We were unsure season 12 had a crucial we were unsure, sorry, full stop. Season 12 had a crucial imperative to introduce and establish a fourth Doctor and push Doctor Who forward, building on the popularity of John Pertwee's Doctor. By the end of the seminal season, Tom Baker was undoubtedly the Doctor. We were all entranced, and in his mesmerising, hypnotic grip, Doctor Who was flying. Shall we revisit season 12, the adventures, the perils, the thrills, the monsters, the cliffhangers, and reflect on what it was that grabbed us and still beguiles us today? The iconic introduction of Davros, the artful crafting of the Dalek origins, the return of the Cybermen. I mean, you could go on, couldn't you? But I'll start with this. So if I just go straight away to actually changing where you can see me, so to speak. There you go. I mean, I was schooled on this, of course. Yeah, this album here. I mean, I don't know how many times I played it, but it's still in its sleeve. And I was just looking, there's not one scratch. It is absolutely in pitch perfect condition. I just want to give you a hint. The amount of times I would just put the headphones on and hide away with this heavily butchered, heavily edited version of Genesis of the Daleks, but by God, it caught me. Every sound I've memorized, and I know a lot of you are the same. And then, of course, it was peak time as well, because I got this at Christmas, an M&S special. It has in there the Genesis of the Daleks and the Planet of the Daleks, the full versions of the story from Target. And then it had the script copies of Genesis of the Daleks, as you can see. Oh, and photographs. This is from a time when you didn't get anything. I was 6. For this whole season, I was 6. At school, you did a diary for a few minutes and you drew a picture. Then you went in the hall and did some drama and had a beanbag on your head and pretended you were a Saxon or something. The Wombles were in the charts a lot, and the first song I had to learn was Wombling Free. But meanwhile, I was learning about morals and ethics and genocide. And I was learning about severe jeopardy on different planets and political machinations and how the human race could colonize another planet. I mean, just get that balance. I'm learning Wombling Free as, ooh, big memory test, bit of diary, beanbag on your head, pretend you're a Saxon. And that's what the teachers were challenging me with. Meanwhile, on a Saturday night, I was really being challenged. And which one grabbed me the most? Me and you both, eh? So, we really do want to talk about this tonight, don't we? Season 12. This was... I mean, he was my Doctor, was John Pertwee, but this was the big moment when I realised, wow, you can actually have... It's playing around with me tonight. I love it when it plays me around. this, I mean, not just this moment, I'm just saying this season. I can't think of a moment, an episode, when I wasn't absolutely entranced. And there was nothing else on TV that would grab me. So just while I wait for John and Jeremy to mic up and everything, let's have a look what people are saying. OT wasn't around for this season, but obviously hit it big for the 50th. And of course, I'm intrigued. I was 6 and I was, it was the biggest thing on TV for me. But other people have come at this at a different point. A lot of love for our lionesses, obviously, who did well yesterday. Hello, Dalek Di Bando again. Someone's specialist subject on Mastermind tonight. Jodie Whittaker's tenure as Doctor Who. Oh, now you've just wiped away all that lovely build-up. No. Oh, well, they'll be the only person. Excuse me. They'll be the only person to be a mastermind on Jodie Whittaker's era, and you think I saw them once. Graham, first season I remember every single story from would have been season 11, but no memory of Time Warrior. Maybe you were in some sort of shock. The JF, good to see you. Nice. I lost all my books years ago. Oh God, I know. Sometimes I have a panic when I can't find them. We've got Paul Roach here. Genesis. Let's have a fight. Genesis is overrated. Some great scenes and performance, but the story's awful. And the internal logic bizarre. On a planet, the two dominant powers are walking distance away from each ludicrous. Oh, it took them minutes to get from one dome to the other one. I saw the map. Paul, how can you do that to us? And then we've got Bernard here, Camden. Good to see you. I think we're touching on the great memories. You're going to see loads of photographs tonight, and I've just got one person I'm going to bring on, and then we'll get the second one. Bernard, my earliest hazy Who memory was Tom Baker surrounded by giant golf balls. All right, yes, I know what you're talking about now. In the moors. Right. Well, John has raced from work. Good to see you, John.
Hey, good to see you, mate. You all right? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, and we can't really see you because, of course, this stupid thing sometimes just likes to play silly devils. So I can do it this time. But obviously, when we get to the other thing and we show all the pictures, it looks as though we're going to be severely minimized. Isn't that classic?
That's fine, mate. I'll be a borrower for the evening.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I know. Yeah, I've lost weight. So yeah, this was an easy one, wasn't it? After season 13, because a few people were saying, well, are you going to do the season 13 deep dive? And I'm going, we did it 2 weeks ago.
We did indeed. And what a blast it was, eh?
But we enjoyed it so much. We actually said, oh my God, just for the pure pleasure, which season should we try next? Forget Blu-rays, although the Blu-ray's out on this. And of course, I think it was a no-brainer. Let's do season 12. Who cares?
Yeah.
So everybody, just if you've had a day of work like John has, just settle down and relax. This is comfort blanket stuff, I think, apart from Paul, who really didn't like it. No, he says it's illogical. That's all it was. At 6, I wasn't checking on logic, I tell you.
He didn't like season 12. Where is he? I will hunt him down like Liam Neeson in Taken.
It was the Genesis. It was Genesis. He said it was lacking a bit of logic, or it was, the two domes are too close together or something.
Oh, well, but where I used to live in the UK, I grew up, we used to have two schools very close to each other, and it was very similar. It was all out war. So I can understand it. It's a tiny planet.
Yeah. So it's definitely this tonight, folks. So get in now with your favourite moments. We're going to look at favourite cliffhangers, if we can remember them, favourite scenes, favourite quotes, just why we love this season. So there's a lot to get through there. And also, we've done reviews of this season already because I love it so much. There's an Ark in Space out there review with the whole panel if you really want to enjoy that on another night. And we did the Sontaran Experiment as well. So the fun is out there. And of course, the Who pets really do like the Sontaran Experiment, and they had a go themselves.
Oh, no. Lynx, Hecky Thump, what's wrong, Grandad? Don't you want a kebab from that takeaway booth?
That's no takeaway booth, you wet wipe. That's a Sontaran scout ship. A Sontaran Experiment.
Yeah, that anything that's fear shaped. So, the most important thing though, John, before I really get going tonight is, I know this is the season when I established my fascination with pillow talk. So basically, everybody, you've got to be aware with me. This is obviously my fixation, and season 12 is at fault. So here we go. Yeah, and Jeremy's just joined us as well. Hiya, Jeremy.
Oh, hello, sir.
You're right.
Yeah, well, you've just joined us in time for my... pillow talk, because of course I can't mention season 12 without actually saying, can everybody keep an eye on these pillars in the Khaled City, or is it the Thal City? I always get them mixed up. But yes, take a look at those pillars. This is what got me going. Remember, I'm 6. I'm really focused. I'm noticing every little bit of rubble. And so keep an eye on those pillars and look at those pillars. Same city, I know. Not doing a very good job of hiding Tom Baker from the Daleks, really. It's just a clever shot. Yeah, there they are. Those pillars.
Fantastic.
Oh, I know. A Dalek down a corridor when there's not many doors is just what you want. Look at those pillars, just reminding you all. And
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you see
Happy
what
zone.
Do you see what I mean, folks? How it obviously affected me so much. And so this is the level of it, folks. I was 6. I was so observant, and I wrote to the Doctor Who magazine years later and said, "Are the pillars in the scenery of, is it the Thal City or the Khaled City?" I'm just looking. They were just about to fire the bomb, but yeah,
That's right.
But yes, somebody's help as well. I'm just thinking this through. Are they the same as the TARDIS interior pillars? And of course, the Doctor Who magazine was quite nice in saying, "Get a life." No. But that's why I have my obsession with pillars, everybody. Very exciting item, but I just thought it's season 12 that got me into it. So there you go. Pillow talk. Well, here we go. Robots. Might as well get going, lads, mightn't we? Robots started it all off, and what was it? The oh god, it was 20. That was it. The 28th of December, 1974. This season. Oh, Jeremy, John, this season was just what you wanted. All the way through the dark, wintry months, up to just before my birthday, I was just 6 all the way through. It was just heaven.
Do you know, as I've said before, I was born in 79, so I never saw it on broadcast. But the first moment I watched Robot, I was always fascinated with, right, how is the Fourth Doctor, how is Tom Baker going to introduce himself to the audience? And it's just an absolute joy from the first moment to the last moment of that story. I mean, I'm just going to give you a great highlight of mine, okay? This is how I love the Fourth Doctor, where he writes the note to Sarah to say he's going to Kettlewell, right? And he says, P.S. probably a trap. And then what is it? He says, he goes, P.S. I'm writing this, but I can look after myself. PPS or something. I am writing this just in case I can't look after myself. And it's just wonderful. It's just the Fourth Doctor straight away in the zone. And I love Robot. I think it's a wonderful story.
Didn't he type it out quickly?
He did.
Yes, he should have been on Roy Castle's Record Breakers, because basically, and with Norris McWhirter with his brother, and because he was running on the spot, typing fast and everything. I mean, the things he did in that second is amazing.
Can I just say why I love Doctor Who? This is a Fourth Doctor moment, but this is also why I love Doctor Who so much, because when he gets the phone call and he goes, "Oh, I'll talk to anyone," and that was me hearing the Doctor. Whatever you think, the Doctor will talk to you no matter what. The Doctor is a legend. Brilliant stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll ask Jeremy in a moment, as we're going to tiptoe through the season, but now and again I'll intersperse it with favourite cliffhangers, those moments across the season that scared us the most. So I'll keep spicing it up. So Paul here, the cliffhangers of Genesis are awesome. We will get to them, don't worry. I can still remember the shock of episode 2 ending with Sarah Jane Smith falling from the rocket. I got this impression, I've mixed it up in my memory, that Nationwide had already said she was leaving, and I got this impression that was the moment she dies. I remember some conflict in my head going on. Let's have a look. Graham here. I have clear memories of the trailer for Robot. I even have the exact moment I knew he was my Doctor. And I tell you what, I love this Jeremy in his time, Eddie. There he is.
Yeah.
It's the Cybermen.
Yeah, it's Barusa.
I got an old friend.
Oh,
See you.
look at that.
Oh, look, I've got to go big screen for that because he's the
Oh,
exact
that's
one, isn't he?
fantastic.
Cyber
He's,
leader.
he's come to wipe out animal organisms.
This will be a fantastic spectacle.
Has he got his MFI table with him as well?
Yeah, get your hands on your hips.
I've got another one coming. Oh, that's a 1980s one. So
Oh, that's
Oh,
look at this
fantastic.
bonus.
later on.
Can I just add quickly of how much I now hate Jeremy even more now?
Oh well, look at that. That's beautiful, though, isn't it?
It's great.
Back as
beautiful.
well. See the back of him.
Oh,
Yeah. So any relative who
Superb.
visits or any naughty nephew, you can lock that mask on their face until they behave.
Tempting. Very tempting.
Yeah, I think evil. Stephen Braddock, I will never forget at aged 11 the Rirren falling out of the cupboard. I know, coming out the closet. The Rirren came out the closet. Yeah, I do. Obviously, I was 6, and it was like, I mean, let's face it. When you watch it now, yeah, it came out the closet, and it was a split second. But whoa, that shot of it coming at you like that.
Brilliant.
I thought it was alive.
I made one out of plasticine, green plasticine.
I've got my model one over there, which I got
Yeah.
from the Stockton shop. Yeah, but yeah.
Brilliant.
So this is my season. I don't know about you, John. I don't know about you, Jeremy. Jeremy, season 12. I mean, I know everyone goes on about season 13. We've talked about season 13. It started to hit all the beats, but I have to say, people can't ignore season 12. It's beautiful.
It's no wonder this was the first set in the collection's Blu-ray sets that they released to start them all off, because it's just another season of just absolutely top-notch stories, all tucked away in a lovely set. It really is a joy to watch this season.
Yeah.
I watched Robot again last night, and it's just, as I said, I adore it, and that's not even classed as the strongest story in the season either.
Oh, there's no dud in that particular season.
Yeah.
No, and as you know, some people sometimes diss revenge. When we get to revenge, I'm with you, Graham. It might seem unfashionable, but I'm going to say the truth. I love Revenge of the Cybermen.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely love it. So we'll get going. I mean, I thought it'd be nice. Look at those healthy ratings. A brand new Doctor, 10.8 million over Christmas period. He sustained it for part 2. It dwindled away a little bit. God, if I did a rating show with you, John, we'd be going 1.8 million. They're lost in 3 weeks. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you've got the Christmas thing, the Christmas excuse.
Wouldn't they just love to have those ratings right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's it.
I mean, you put it now. I mean, that's not far off of what the women's football got last night on BBC One. So it just shows. I mean, I know there were reduced channels at the time, but it just shows how strong that this era was.
But
wonderful.
And I do want to ask you early doors, John. I know it's difficult, this one. Sorry about this, but everybody in the thread and Jeremy, when was the moment when you thought, no, he's my Doctor? Because I can nail it. While you're thinking, Jeremy, and the thread, I can nail it to the moment. I was watching Robot 1 last night. The moment he saw the flat kind of daisy or daffodil or whatever it was, and he jumped out of the Land Rover over the arch at the top. Now, I think it's about 7 minutes into the episode 1. He's all wild-eyed, as you know, he's all a bit strange here compared to John Pertwee, who was statuesque and just so imposing and authoritative, and my granddad. And then suddenly I thought, who the hell's this? As a 6-year-old, this imposter. But by God, as soon as he had that flat flower and blew it into the Brigadier's face and then jumped, yeah, he's my Doctor. Loved him after that. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure at first, but then it just sort of grew over me, and I thought it was just brilliant. And I think obviously by the following season after that, it was firmly planted as the Doctor.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, John, I know you weren't around, you were a little amoeba, but but can you guess when I mean, because
Oh,
you
I
were
mean, I know from the VHS. I mean, again, I've said to you before, the very first VHSs that I got bought by my mum and dad in the late 80s was Robots of Death and Death to the Daleks. And I thought John Pertwee was superb as the third Doctor, but as soon as I saw Tom in that Robots of Death, I was like flipping out. This guy's on another level as a kid. But when I watched Robot for the first time, I think I'm probably on a par with you about this is my Doctor here, because he follows it up as well when he goes, "You seem to have a very large rat. Perhaps you should employ the services of a very large cat."
yeah,
Straight afterwards. Great stuff. And then when you get to the bit a bit later on, mate, where he goes into the Scientific Reform Society, and he does the bit with the scarf on the floor and trips up the
yeah.
security guy. I mean, I'm hooked at that point. I'm like, this is great stuff.
Yeah, you'd had the James Bond action man Doctor, even though he was like your granddad. But and then suddenly he was doing yo-yos and he was doing the scarf a lot.
Playing dead.
Yeah, it was really good. So we can see people thought, God, the eccentricity and unpredictability of Tom Baker at the beginning almost wobbled me as a 6-year-old until I liked his kind of, I don't know, the fact that he was so nimble. And I mean, we'll mention it in Sontaran Experiment when he blooming injured himself, but basically he was doing the stunts, he was jumping over the Land Rover archway, he was, whoa, this is action Doctor, this is a young Doctor. I mean, he was 40.
Energy.
Yeah.
He's an adult doing childish things, which of course children love. So that's why everybody liked what he was doing.
That's a good point as well. Yeah, I think that's what we probably did get, isn't it? And of course, he said, "You may be a doctor, but I am the Doctor, the definite article." Yes, when we started doing, not quite the pronoun debate, but we were doing the definite article.
Yeah.
But yes, he's the fourth Doctor, and he's the definitive.
I mean, it's quite brave as well, the robot, because you're not only introducing a new Doctor, you're also introducing a new companion in Harry Sullivan as well, who I think just nails it from the word go. It's a wonderful performance, and you can tell the three of them already early in that story, they're starting to gel. And you even have the bit later on with Sarah where they're captured and she looks at Harry and she goes, "James Bond," almost to have a pop at him. It's great.
It's a good story as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, that helps for the actors just to,
you see, let's have the absolute fun of this, because this is what I mean. I mean, God, I could just exude love of every scene, but that would start to get tedious for everybody. So what I will do is I'll say, right, on the fear factor, let's have a look. The fear factor on Robot. So we'll just do the intro. Now, I made that a while back, but you can see I've already got about 3 clips from this season in it. It had such an effect on me. So, regarding Robot, if I start you off just so you can get thinking time and the thread as well. For me, it was not the story that scared me the most, I'll be honest with you. However, I loved and was thrilled by those early viewpoint pictures as if you're the robot eyes. When he's got these clunky claws and he's picking up a B&Q shelf. I mean, why get a robot to go to B&Q and raid it at night? But it was funny, wasn't it? And, to get the shelf and to cut the barbed wire and to, burrow underground. I loved that squared sequence. They should have done that more with the Crotons or something, but I loved that. And the music, the Dudley Simpson, the way it was just lumbering. The music, the viewpoint seemed to grab me. And I think that was that moment. And I think a few people might join me. The moment it leers at Sarah and the size difference.
It's very reminiscent of beginning of an Avengers story from the 1960s. I always thought the robot. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Michael yesterday. I'm sure he's in the chat somewhere as well, but he was
Yes,
saying
he
that
is.
there was, I've never watched the Avengers, but he was telling me about there's an Avengers story that they've clearly been inspired by because
yeah,
it
the
takes a lot of the
Cybermen.
elements. Yeah.
Well, Stephen Braddock has mentioned the clothes. A few people have mentioned the clothes, and I think when you've seen McCoy change clothes, because it became a thing, didn't it? They did it quite well on this one because I remember when Tom Baker came out the TARDIS as one of the what was it? What was he? The Jack of Spades or something. You think, oh my god,
And the
you know,
Viking.
yeah, and the sad clown, and you thought, oh my god, these no, and I remember they give you such offensive choices that when you saw him run out in really ridiculous gear, you went, yeah, just like the Brigadier did. Yep, we'll have it. That'll do.
I think the Harlequin Queen King would have been difficult. Clown would have been difficult.
Yeah, I also think now it's a modern production team actually thought, that's a good idea, and they were inspired by it clearly.
Farsight loves the scene where the Doctor takes the mick out of the brig about Britain being trusted by the rest of the world.
Yeah, the rest of the foreigners. That's great.
Pickles, I know it's not on theme, but what do you guys think about the second Doctor and his era? Well, yeah,
Very good.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Great, fantastic.
But I think this is where, look, every Doctor should be different, but Tom Baker brought that energy and physicality back. When John Pertwee couldn't always, he did stunts and he did his best, and he did an awful lot of stuff in cars and all the rest of it. But to be honest, it's his back. He had a back injury, didn't he? So he had to be careful. Whereas Tom Baker, I suppose, just seemed a little bit more youthful and maybe took us back to that.
You're right. Tom's performance took it to a whole new level. And that's why now, whenever, even if you see a stranger who you mentioned Doctor Who, that normally 90% of the time they go, oh, the one with the scarf, because of how iconic he was in the role. So it's the Troughton era is sensational, but this is really on a whole new level. It's wonderful.
And I know Jeremy's going to say he's got it. I've got it, and it's in the loft. I just couldn't get it down. The models you could buy. You could get the TARDIS. You could get Leela, the giant robot, K9, the Cyberman, and the Dalek. Yeah, I mean, it is a hell of a design. And it just stood out. I know nowadays they think the robot should be different, but I have to say, even Doctor Who Season 2 this year, when they did the Robot Revolution, RTD decided we'd go retro to the 50s. This is just on point. It's a very... And I saw it at the Worlds of Wonder exhibition that the toured. I mean, it is an outstanding design.
I did get close up to it and I took some pictures. I noticed there's a little bit of rust here and there. So I think the Doctor's formula worked a little bit.
It was absolute agony to wear, though, wasn't it? From what we're told, pinching the skin and.
Yeah,
from was it Michael Kilgareth who was the cyber controller?
It must have been hot in that costume.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes, I've got a shot in a minute of him with the head off, and where they're rehearsing, and you can see he's just wearing baggy trousers while he's rehearsing the lumbering shoulders. But it's a hell of a good start. I mean, you think of Twin Dilemma, you think of Spearhead from Space, you think of Power of the Daleks, you think of the intros for Doctors. Robot doesn't get too much of a mention. Everyone says 11th hour and but Robot just got on with it. And it wasn't clever ass. It was just, it's another, something's going on Earth. That was the alien. I mean, that looked so distinctively different for a 6-year-old. I just thought, wow, and the size of it. I didn't see any comparisons to King Kong because I didn't know King Kong.
I thought it was a little bit like King Kong, yeah. Well, obviously it was somewhat based on that as well.
Yeah. The thing was, I was fascinated. Sorry, John. I was fascinated that at 6, I was really interested in, after getting over the scare of Sarah Jane Smith looking as though she was getting attacked by the robot in part 1, when suddenly she talked to it like a human, and it was like, whoa. So by part 4, I was quite sad when it died, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful
That's
design. You know, I love Sarah Jane's car in this story as well. I wish they'd add her in the Sarah Jane Adventures as well. Just brought it
MG.
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
MG midget. Yeah.
yeah,
I noticed that some of these pictures they use for the is it Whitman jigsaws? They did a selection of more of them.
yes.
I've got them upstairs, but they some nice pictures that they got from this particular serial.
Great.
Paul Mabley found the giant robot was very limp-wristed. Well,
It's
those
a bit dodgy on his feet in certain scenes. But he's doing, whoop, trip.
yeah, he knew what was coming. There he is in his Clint film. But yes, I didn't see that Blue Peter model where they kind of showed you what you can make from Baco foil and everything. But yeah, there he is there. That's him.
Yeah, it's interesting when they're trying to get him into the removal van, and the unit soldiers are shooting, and they completely miss the baddies. You know, and you think, what's going on? You know, that's a bit sort of.
It was there he is. There you go, everybody. Yeah. Look, I mean that is a clunky beast to wear.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we've got Stephen Braddock. I was very upset when the robot melted, but its design lives on. Look, I think that's the masterpiece of it. You have a 6-year-old who gets scared by some of the scenes, but still has to watch. And then by the end of the 4 parts, feels sorry for the monster. I think that's mission accomplished.
I mean, I remember watching it for the first time, and yeah, I was never scared by this story. To be honest, watching it as a kid, the thing that is more worrying for me in this story was just the threat of nuclear war and the bunker.
Yeah,
everything going up. Because that was something that I was starting to become more aware of in the late 80s. But the robot, I didn't at all. I actually just felt pity for the robot throughout the story because it's being manipulated.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree. But that's clever writing by Terrence Dicks that you actually, you as a kid thought, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. You know, the sense of injustice as a little kid, I got it, and it was almost like I didn't want the doctor with his little bucket when he was on the back of Bessie to throw it at the thing. No, and I think it was when you heard its sounds as it's gargling and disappearing, like the Wicked Witch of the West, of the East, or East West. Who cares?
Well, I heard rumors that Brendan is recreating the scene of Robot where the little doll is being held by the robot as Sarah Jane and being carried along. But he hasn't told me who it's going to be yet that's going to be held by that robot. So keep an eye out for it, because
you're going to have a big K1 robot.
Can you imagine it? So here we with our fear factor. So I mentioned my scare a bit in this one. I know we were different ages, but was there anything in it, Jeremy, where you thought, no, that was scary, blah, blah, blah,
No, it wasn't scary. Probably Ark in Space was a little bit more scary. And Genesis, I would say. Those were the two. And a little bit of Sontaran Experiment.
Yeah. I think it was this, the darker, in Think Tank, I think it was this scene. And also the chase, I call it a chase sequence, when it was lumbering around after Tom Baker. And you said, Johnny got his scarf out. And I've got a shot of it in a minute. That was because Kettlewell tricked him, didn't he? And it was, I think the darkness and having a lumbering machine like that coming at you really was the thing there.
But can I just say one thing quickly as well? There's that wonderful line by the 4th Doctor in it at the end with Sarah, and he's basically talking about it could be human, potentially has potential for great good and also great evil. That's a lovely little line at the end of it as well. It's great. It's just wonderful stuff.
Gosh, Blue Peter.
Yeah. Was it another strike? or were they presenting it because they were just trying to say, well, you've got a new doctor and we now want to patronize you on how this works?
It's a good idea. At least it promoted the show and the episodes anyway.
Yeah.
It did. And this is my favourite three, really, I would have thought. This is my period. So, yeah, Leslie Judd, Peter Purvis, and John Noakes. Go with Noakes later on. Peter Purvis did his motorbike show for kids in the morning. Wow. Time Mechanic, good to see you. I always wondered what season 12 would have been like if John Pertwee had stayed on. Ark in Space, Genesis with the Third Doctor. It is one of those amazing sliding doors moments, isn't it? Because it was kind of a very Barry-led season. Loved it. But yeah, I mean,
It'd be interesting to see what stories were left over from, how many of these stories were left over from the John Pertwee era.
yeah. But it's almost ridiculous because Barry Letts has just teed up Philip Hinchcliffe with an ace followed by an ace followed by an ace. I mean, my God, did he save the best to last or what?
Do you think he would have toned it down though? When you talk about like Ark in Space, if the Third Doctor had been there and Barry and Terrence potentially had still been around, that kind of story would have been a lot more toned down than it was. If that makes sense. So I just think with Tom coming in and Philip Hinchcliffe taking over, that I just always got the impression that everyone was pumping at full energy and going, right, okay, let's push this as far as we can go. Just a new fresh energy to it. And I love the Third Doctor era, but it just came out of the trapdoor really quick, didn't it? And it didn't stop until you got to the season end.
No, and this is what I mean. And suddenly Waffles picked up on me saying it, that it just basically tried to entertain you and it gave you the jeopardy in the right places and you got a proper Doctor. And we've gone on, and I'm not going to do shooty tonight, but the point is we have had discussions about how long, if ever, it took to establish the shooty Doctor.
Yeah.
But Tom Baker's Doctor was established pretty fast. Now, I think that's down to writing. The story got on with it, and actually a hell of a good actor. And as you were saying, John, Philip Hinchcliffe is keen to impress. Barry Letts has teed him up. Brand new Doctor and actor who's not thinking about Hollywood. He just wants to go for it. Liz Sladen and him get on like a house on fire. It just seems to be it's alchemy, great alchemy. That moment is fab.
Yeah, it's just a joy. And again, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about people in the chat, but I've lost count of how many times over the years I've watched this story in this season. And I never get tired of it. It is that comfort blanket. It takes me straight back to the first time, and it's just an absolute joy.
And if I was being honest, Jeremy, out of the 5 stories, this is the one I will have watched the least over the period of years since.
Funny, I think that it's Ark in Space is the least one that I've watched.
It might be interesting for us to talk about that at the end, actually, about which ones are the go-to ones, which ones less so. So Donkey the Funky Evans, I can never imagine Pertwee doing a Homo sapiens speech from the Ark in Space. No. Right, interesting point. I mean, I can see him in Curse of Peladon telling them all off, Galactic Federation. And so I don't know, that's how I would see him doing it. Telling everybody off, really, almost saying, but doing it. Jess, good to see you. Would you go back and watch it again after seeing it once? For many of us, that is not debatable. Unlike the trash that I know, we can't help but compare. But you're so right. This, give us character options. We'll buy them. Look at Jeremy. He's got the big cyber leader head. This period in history of Doctor Who, we will all plunder forever. Whether we would with the shooty seasons, I'm not too sure. I'm trying to be very fair and moderate. But look at that. Can you imagine the monster if it had legs like that? It just wouldn't have been the same, would it? So, on the cliffhangers, lads, I'm not going to go through every cliffhanger. I'm just, if there's any you remember from Robots that got you thinking. Got you thinking as a kid or as a watcher that fascinated you. Any come to mind?
I think for me, I mean, the two is obviously the Fourth Doctor being injured and the robot peering over him, standing over him. That's an iconic one. But I do like the one as well where you see the robot growing. And I do love they build up in the story about the fact that he's created this formula you know, and the gun will basically, you know, the brigadier thinks that the gun will take him out, but it doesn't. You know, it does completely. It goes against what he wants and just makes him even bigger. You know, it's wonderful stuff.
Yeah. The brigadier thinks he can
Yeah,
bypass the doctor when he can't.
exactly.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, and so you this story, I just thought TARDIS crew, like you said, Harry was the new one, and Harry just before you knew it was in. Yes, he seemed a little bit kind of straight laced in episode 1 because of course he was just playing it straight because he had to, which is he's the doctor. You've got two hearts. What the hell's going on? Blah blah blah. And of course, I think whoever came up with that decision, it was clever to have Harry. I know they were wondering whether we were going to get an older doctor and we needed a spare, bit like Ian Chesterton. But he's a brilliant foil with Tom and with Sarah Jane Smith. Brilliant. I will say, I think this is my favourite TARDIS crew. Now, I have to say of them all because it's my period. So sorry to those who saw it in 63, but my second best TARDIS crew would be the 63, 64 crew.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this on when we did the season 13, didn't we? And I said, I really regret. I'm really sad that we didn't get to see Harry for longer because I love Harry. I think he's such a great companion, and just you see as the season goes on, just the little back and forth, the sarcasm, the humor between Harry and Sarah, the Doctor and Harry, the Doctor and Sarah. It is wonderful stuff, you know. It's an absolute joy this season. It really is.
Well, Sonny Waffles here. Robot doesn't seem connected like the other stories in the season are, even though it brings in Harry. Well, we had the Nerva Beacon time ring thing, didn't we? It is quite a connected season, really. This one stands out. This is, as I say, the one I least connect with, apart from it's got a regeneration. But the regeneration is over and done. Nowadays, they're all big dramas.
Yeah.
And it's just fall on the floor and will you get moving? Graham, of course, Miss Winters was a right nasty bit of work, wasn't she? That's maybe what's not changed in 50 years. Because, you know, what were the issues now in Doctor Who? It was Conrad Clark, it was conspiracy theorists, it was all that sort of thing. And you had Think Tank then, Conrad Clark, Think Tank. I had a few people saying, are you doing this for a reason? No, I'm not. I just thought of Thursday Think Tank, didn't I, John?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Miss Winters is kind of on trend for the progressives to have a go now, isn't she? She's right where you want it to be. She's like a little Mrs. Farage, I suppose, is what the progressives would say.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and there's that old comment about the chauvinist line because Sarah, you know, gets it wrong. You know, she thinks it's the, you know, her henchman that's next to her that's running everything. You know, and it's that's well done as well. And
she says, "I didn't expect chauvinism from a woman."
Yeah,
I'm a woman.
exactly. It's great, isn't it? You know, it's just that I don't know how long they would spend. You know, I'm sure, you know, there's people in the chat, and if Michael Herbert's there, he'll probably know more than I do. But I don't know how long they spent on these scripts and how long they made sure they got it as good as they possibly could, because some of it, well, I'd say pretty much all of it is so on point. It's so well done. It makes me think they've spent an eternity on these scripts, you know, because it's so strong.
They're trying to scare the kids, or at least entertain the kids, keep their mums and dads happy, and it works. So there you go. There's robots. So we're off and running on that front, and so we move delicately onwards to the next one, Ark in Space. And you can see we've gone from the 10s to 9s millions to 9s to 13s and 11s. It's starting to look tasty, isn't it? I mean, I know part 2's got a story behind it, but the point is, it's a fact. But look at that. I mean, what a jump. But what a good time for it to jump, because I think this is when it will have grabbed a lot of the dads and the mums who go, God, this is quite adult. This is quite, you know.
Yeah. Can I just... Sorry, you go, Jeremy.
I mean, I was just to say that, I mean, at the time, I didn't know how many people were watching the show. I had no idea of the millions of viewers until many, many years later, when all this data is assessed and it comes out through fan magazines, etc., etc. It is very impressive. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
I just say that VHS cover for me is just iconic. I've always adored it, with the Wirren just literally resting on top of the earth. It is so good, you know.
Excuse me. Yes. The thing is, though,
Yeah.
it's got memories of when you bought it and everything, hasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
these illustrations, it's like the book, the yellow backed book. I don't know how many times I read that. So it's like an old friend. And remember, there was a time when none of us could have VHSs or anything. So basically, whatever was the illustration on the Target front cover was all you had to play around with your head while you read it. I would sometimes zoom in on the front of the front cover and play the Doctor Who music in my head as if there was a cliffhanger. I know. Is it just me?
I think there was also a Laservision disc, Philips Laservision disc of this
Oh,
one
okay.
as well. Released, I think so, yeah.
My main memory of Ark in Space is the Doctor and Harry hiding from the security thing in episode 1. Says Graham. Yep. I remember doing an intimacy watch on that with my review. And Craig Dunlop, yeah, saying if it was the shooty doctor, he'd stay under there with Harry. Craig,
Poor old
yeah,
Harry's
yeah.
shoes.
And is it the cricket ball as well?
Yeah.
Cricket ball, yeah.
Craig Dunlop, Ark in Space is one of my all-time favourite Who stories. Now, I'm going to do sacrilege for a moment, because I do like Ark in Space, of course I do. But we're going to be looking at the season, aren't we, as we go? And just like I was saying, Robot was my least watched one. Ark in Space is mainly one set. It's like the base under siege kind of philosophy. Whereas the Revenge Later has 2 locations, really. And I think it benefits from that. Sontaran Experiment has a brilliant location anyway. And of course, Genesis has a lot of different locations. And I think the others benefit from that, I personally think. But there again, base under siege, yeah. There's the cast and some of the details. Good old Roger Murray Leach, of course, famous for that set. Robert Holmes knows his stuff. Rodney Bennett doing the directing. And of course, you've got Kenton Moore as Noah and Wendy Williams as Vira. They're the main things in this one. And as you say, that lovely VHS cover. And Never Beacon, my God. I mean, you know, lovely design, I think. Very, very
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Model work.
And I think they've done it well in the Blu-ray update as well. You know, that they've kept, as they've done with the Blake Sevens, they've done a nice job on it. Stephen Braddock, I still find it amazing that part 1 is just the 3 TARDIS crew acting off each other, yet it was compelling to watch. Well, it takes you back to Edge of Destruction, doesn't it? It takes you back to just having the TARDIS crew. And if it's a damn good story, get the lighting down a bit, because we played around with the power's not there and the oxygen isn't there. And the thing is, your sonic screwdriver wasn't going to save you. What happened here was he didn't know when he was. He didn't know quite where he was. He didn't know about the oxygen situation. There were loads of things he didn't know, the Doctor. He had to discover one another. You know, that was what was great about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. I mean, again, and you've also got to just take a moment to think. This is only the second story with this TARDIS crew, but they feel like they've been there for years. You know, there's no long season arcs to just build them together and make them, you know, this great crew. We're talking about the second story, you know, and they're just at the top form straight away. I mean, I could watch 4 episodes of them just walking around the arc without seeing anything at all, because it's so entertaining. You know, it's great.
I wonder if less is more. Nowadays, they try and write everything more soap opera and emotionally intelligent, they would say. And, you know, I appreciate you 2 lads coming on tonight. I feel very touched by it. And, you know, you go on and on and on. It's like, you know, sometimes just say one thing and it means a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas Sarah and Harry in the 4th Doctor do have some great interplay lines, but they're just here and there. It's, you know, sprinkled through, but they tell you a lot. So as in Ark in Space, when she's coming through the air duct or whatever, and she's risking her life, and he's cheeking her and provoking her and triggering her, however you want to call it. And they're allowed that little bit of interplay, but you learn so much about their relationship from
Yeah.
that. You don't need a speech about women and this and men and that.
No.
It's not like a Doctor and Tegan relationship where, you know, Tegan wants to get back and
Yeah.
she's had enough. Whereas Sarah doesn't.
This is a
until
companion,
bit
isn't it,
mature.
Jeremy and Brendan? This is a companion. We're talking about Sarah here, that she will die for the Doctor. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. She will lay down her life for the Doctor and for Harry as well, just like Harry will do the same, just like the Doctor will do the same. There's so much respect between all three of them. It's just great. You know, it's what part of this story can you not get bored with? It's wonderful.
And we've got to say it fast, don't we? And we said it in our review of Ark in Space that it was Alien before it was Alien.
Yeah.
But now Graham's talking about the Ruin creeping up on Tom in episode 4, and it did start to creep you out. Any time in that, is it the solar?
The stack. Yeah.
I think the solar stack is my favorite set, because every time somebody was in there, I as a kid was bricking it, because you knew that there could be something at the other side. You had the eye, the green eye in the middle, then you had the glass, and then when you did see a ruin, you had that sound, that scuttling sound like a cockroach. Oh, now that's what Graham's talking about as well in a way, but actually the sound of bubble wrap on the set trying to get through the grill and all the rest of it, that freaked me out. You know, that is a massive slug. That bothered me.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is wonderful. You know, again, when you see it moving along, and this did scare me as a kid, especially when what's his name's in the cabinet, and he's just woken up, and he said, "Shut the door," and it's literally there devouring him. You know.
Yes.
And they go out and they seal the door. That's terrifying stuff.
Well, you're mentioning terrifying stuff, so let's do the fear factor bit on Ark in Space while we're at it. Because on this one, like I said, anything in the solar stack, you've got Dudley Simpson, who just knows how to do it. He just creeps you out. Good little sound effects, and the dark lighting helped. And the fact that it was hairy, the hairs on the top of the bubble wrap was a bit freaky. It's like,
yeah, it does freak me out a bit.
Ugly minger, this bloody thing. So Stephen Braddock, the great speech, which we'll get to. They survived flood, famine, plague, survived cosmic wars and holocausts, and now here they are, months of stars, waiting to begin a new life, ready to outslip eternity. I don't think you're including us, Britain, because I think we're limping at the moment, Stephen.
Yeah.
I don't think you're including us in that. I don't think we're going to get to the stars. Never mind across the channel at this rate.
Yeah, I think we're trying to survive in the solar bunker right now, aren't we, on the Earth?
I can't imagine the Fourth Doctor saying, "Great Britain, they're out amongst the stars." I'm thinking, they're tanks. Fear factor. There you go. And yeah, honestly, this little grub. I mean, honestly, was it? You know, who was playing it? It was fantastic. Oh, this.
Yeah.
They see to be watched. This is Scooby-Doo territory, isn't it? This is like the eye watching it. This is Terror of the Zygons, the eye in the picture, and the eye in Android Invasion when he pulled the thing back. Oh, just the eye turning fab.
It's great, isn't it? And then when he's trying to explain to Noah, he's going about something trying to get out, and then you know it doesn't. It's just not going to happen, is it, for him? But I was going to say the terrifying thing for me, is Noah and how he's being consumed bit by bit with his hand when he gets his arm out. Sorry, and it's just bubble wrap. yeah, exactly. Yeah. Snake eating an apple.
Maybe it's maybe why I don't watch the story as much. It's probably the reason it's so too frightening.
He has to. I'm in charge of my hand. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
It was a bit like Doctor Who meets Sooty. It was a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's great. It was well acted as well, isn't it? You know, when he's smashing it down onto the panel, you know, he's
Yeah, well,
the war within is going on.
well, actually, I was saying Sooty, but actually, I really mean we're off the time, aren't we? Parkinson, Rodhull, and Emu.
Yeah.
Because the emu would be doing that kind of hand effect and whack people and strangle them and everything, and that's maybe what was going on here. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it's the body horror, isn't it? This did Seeds of Doom did it again. To see somebody taken over, and you're sat there, age 6, you've maybe just had your tea, and you're going, oh, whoa, you know, wow, he's been taken over. And of course, a bit of dialogue, just a bit. He doesn't do a big speech, but you realise he's getting torn. And it's unbelievable the things they challenged a 6-year-old with. Episode 4 at the end, when he blows up the spaceship and says something to Vira, and you're going, oh, so there's a bit of a human left. You know, your head, before your head hits the pillow that night, is full of so many things. You're spinning a lot of plates as a 6-year-old on this one.
When you're eating your beans on toast.
I will just add a funny moment for me is when they're shooting at, you know, the original sort of, you know, slug caterpillar form, and it peels back, and you just see like the cow udders.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. And then the Fourth Doctor walks towards them. I almost thought the Fourth Doctor was going to milk them at one point. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes there's a look that later on you go, I'm not sure. So, what was the bit? Yeah, there's so many jokey bits. You're standing on my scarf. Oh, you see, the bit that gets me is he was so irritated with Harry in episode 1, just as much as he was Harry is an imbecile in Revenge. The irritation between those two is brilliant. Never mind when he's with Sarah. Loved it.
Well, I mean, going back to that first scene with the you know the sentry robot and the shooting from the ceiling, you know, I always love the scene where Harry says, "Oh, jolly good deductive reasoning, Doctor," and he sarcastically looks at Harry and he's like, "Thank you." Just to say, I've had enough of you already.
It's Harry's first trip in the TARDIS, and he comes out of the TARDIS saying, "Oh,
but he took no prisoners." You know, when he said, "Which button did you press?"
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I was just wondering which button, Harry, and it was like, honestly, there was none of this kind of a YTS scheme for Harry. None of it.
But how great Tom is when he does that about which button did you press, and he's saying, "Oh, nothing happened," but he goes, "Oh, I can hardly breathe," and then Tom, as Fourth Doctor, goes, "Try and remember where you were standing," you know, and he's gone into Doctor mode there to basically say to him, "Right, remember where you're standing. I think I know what's happened. Sarah's life's in danger here," and he gets Harry to do it and to open the panel so she's back with him. Wonderful stuff.
Isn't John that just like everybody who's so unhelpful? Remember when you can't remember where your keys are and they go, "Let's go back and rewind." You're going, "I've just tried to do that, you prat."
Yeah.
What do you think I've done there?
Trace your steps.
Exactly. Yeah, that is it to a T, isn't it? And let's be honest, they got lucky at that point. That was a pure fluke with Harry at that point. He had no idea it was that button.
Yeah. But so on the fear factor, folks, I to see Sarah Jane Smith in that tight spot, we all know companions go down ventilation shafts all the blooming time. Genesis is going to do it again. But it did look at a snug fit. But it was the bit when she went past the solar stack and they're all scratching at it. Whoa! You see, you could just imagine as a kid you were going, "Oh, I have to get hold of her. She's toast." And you can see she's acting. She's, you know, "I'm struggling here," and then they're scuttling at the thing. Whoa, that bit. And then didn't one grab her when she was in that kind of area? You know, hello. This is. I'm living it now.
I always found it more terrifying when they were just, you know, they were in their caterpillar form, because I always felt that they just had to touch you and you were infected and you were going to become one. When they evolve past that, it's like you see where they try and grab Sarah and pull her in. They're formidable, but I always thought they're not as powerful as they were before because it was like an infection that you had no cure for at the beginning.
It's a funny one, isn't it? I know exactly what you're saying, but there was it in part 3 or part 4 when a few Wirren come towards the door and they have to keep it shut, and
Yeah.
the size of them's impressive, and I think that scuttling sound helped. And when the lighting came down, and Dudley Simpson had a nice heavy bass to it, and I don't know, just about, especially when the moment Vira and the other fella were in the escape ship,
Yeah.
and there's that ladder. Now, as a kid, I was going, the ladder's there. They'll come up the ladder. Watch the ladder. I was obsessed with the blooming ladder.
Yeah.
Because, being a Dalek expert by the age of 6, I knew that, ladders and stairs and everything. So I was, they should have shut that.
Yeah.
Really was a problem for me. I mean, the things you think about. But of course, remember, Jeremy, we had a week to think about this.
That's right. One episode.
They look so sinister. They look good in black and white, actually.
They do. They do.
But the other scary bit, lads, was when did you say, was it was it the Doctor, or was it Harry or Sarah? I can't remember who had to hide behind one of those cocoons to have, I mean, from Curse of Peladon onwards, just having a nice where we walk past and you hide behind the curtain, just the hidey bits, the Pyramids of Mars, hide in the bunk, the priest hole.
And it is also when they do the noises the Wirren make. It's kind of the best way to describe the noise is kind of like the sound of a bird and a monkey, where they're doing that as they're going past.
Yeah.
It's really well done, and it's quite sinister. Like you said, the scratching's great, but when you hear them doing that as well, it's like, okay, this has put me off insects for quite a while.
Yeah. I was never into insects anyway in the first place.
And when we're talking,
I just get the spray out.
And when we're talking about what really scared you, one of the things I will always say is it was the dialogue in this one, because it said how you digested that, and you, as a little kid, you were starting to work out when you saw all those cocoons, and you thought, oh, I have to put eggs in each one. Oh my God! And then the thought of those creatures on the screen now eating you, that freaked me out. The dialogue is really good in Ark in Space to scare you. You hear the words and your brain is doing much more than any special effect could do.
I mean, you got that wonderful moment as well where I think the Doctor, I'm paraphrasing here, but the Doctor says he's been thoroughly digested, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And then Sarah says, don't make jokes like that, Doctor. And he's like, when I say I'm afraid, Sarah, I'm not making jokes. And that's where the scales have been lifted to another level, because you've actually got the Doctor actually admitting he's afraid here, and he's trying to find a way out of this, because he knows how bad this looks.
Yeah, it's well remembered that. Stephen Braddock, I love the scene where the Doctor wires himself up to the Wirren's eye. They love doing Tom Baker. I said Deadly Assassin, The Matrix. Wire him up. He's a good. The Doctor he does,
Yeah.
Burning permed hair is always good, and you see the journey of the Wirren from its point of view. Clever narrative device, actually, to do that. Without doing what Chris Chibnall would do when you get a whole cartoon sequence of. Now, the Charms Children start. Sorry, I've now sworn. Season 12, and I've brought up that. Don't mention the war. Graham, the Hinchcliffe era produced some absolutely wonderful monsters, I think. I mean, I think Zygons for me. Just Zygons. Whoa. We're all waiting for season 13 to come out. How many times I've watched Terror of the Zygons? But the music and everything in that. And yes, me and John talked about that a couple of weeks ago. So I won't do a repeat, but I could. Hasler Scott, Leela and the Brigadier are so great because they're the opposite of the Doctor in many ways. Yeah, you need that. He's using his brain and Leela is ready to knife people. You're jumping seasons, Hasler Scott. You're getting very excited, but I agree with what you're saying. That's why I think Harry and Sarah works. They're like siblings arguing with each other.
Yeah.
The Doctor, I love the Doctor getting irritated with somebody, but then, as we say, he also has a kind of grudging respect. When he shouts Sarah in Brain of Morbius or any of the Star Seeds of Doom, he really is bothered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good old solar stack. I mean, I don't know. I never thought solar stacks would be my thing, but there he is. He's in another closet there. All you need is a Wirren in a little closeted area, and that freaks you out.
Fantastic. It's you know, it's sizing himself up for his own personal wardrobe, isn't he? He's like, how many outfits can I get in here? Wonderful. Great design.
Yeah.
There's the
How many-
window cleaner's
forward
about to
to-
come down as well. I've just done your windows.
Yep. And there's Noah playing with himself. Sorry, Noah, he's got his hand in his pocket. And you'd read into that. And Mary Whitehouse will probably say, that's very disturbing, this.
Yeah,
You shouldn't
pocket
do this.
billiards.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to work in a school where one of the teachers did that. He didn't realize he was. It was just he was very nervous. And when he was nervous, there was a lot of strange things going on in
You
pockets.
play with your worry balls. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's going on here? Have you lost your keys? Anyway, so there's Noah checking himself, going, is this what my acting career's come to? Doing footy. Actually, they should have hired Rod Hull because he could have actually.
Yeah.
But no, it was very good, and he had a good voice, didn't he? And it was the thing I always say. What a shame they edited that bit out, though.
Yeah. I mean, again, just look at that. We'll talk about it later as well with Revenge of the Cybermen, but just look at that set again. It's so well created. Well realized, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Really is wonderful.
All those stars at the back.
Yeah,
just across the
exactly.
curtain with lights in it, and you can see it just moving slightly in the breeze.
Yeah, it could easily.
I never noticed that.
It could have
I
been
never
a Barry
noticed that
Manilow
time.
concert, and they've all got the candles. One voice.
Yeah.
No.
Think why are those stars?
Yeah.
moving?
Yeah, honestly, a very good effect.
It's clearly a ripple back from Flux, wasn't it? Yeah.
But on the old sets that I was watching this first time round, you couldn't see the edge of the curtain
No.
drape.
Stephen O'Neill loved the scene where the Doctor says Sarah is hopeless and she proves him wrong. It was all psychology from the Doctor to help her to get out over the fear of bearing. Yeah, what troubles me, check out my review of Ark in Space. It's the stunt. Liz Sladen getting out. I worry about her back every time. It was a hell of a stunt, really. She's an actress. She's not a ballerina or anything. So little things like that get to me.
It'd be difficult if you suffer from claustrophobia.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a script, that, isn't it, that she had to deal with there. Mad Mackham being, a little bit of sarcasm there. Thank you very much. And yeah, yes, I don't you know? Didn't you know? I mean, it is possible. Yes, Brendan used to be a teacher. I slip it in there just in case. Seems to be bear your credentials from Brendan, doesn't it? So there we go. So we are jumping to, and I've just got to get the right buttons. So yes, we've got Slug, the outfits. I mean, the outfits are iconic. The set that was reused for Ark in Space, the good old solar stack there, Jeremy.
It was a good idea to reuse the set, save a lot of money. I mean, that's something that the new production team should have picked up on.
Well, what's weird is they kind of have overused the unit set. I take exactly what you're saying, but the unit set is actually, as a few people have said, quite flat and a bit boring. Whereas Roger Murray Leach, it was the curves and the mirrors and playing with angles.
Well, the only way to get around that, obviously, is for the director to use different camera angles to make the set look different and different lighting. They did that in the film The House That Dripped Blood with John Pertwee in it, and they made the set look different each time, but by using different camera angles and lighting. And it was quite effective as well, because you thought it was like a new set, which it wasn't. It was the same set.
Yeah. Captain Have Fun. Oh my God, Brendan, get a life. That was not a hard stunt. Try jumping off a roof or falling off. Yeah, I know Havoc did very well in the John Pertwee years, but I always, I'm sorry, it's just the shape of the back when she comes out of that duct. It gets me a bit. But yes, and this lovely idea that every human's a bit of a microfiche. It's like a library, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
That we've
great.
moved on now.
Wonderful.
So yes, just to give everybody a reminder, Vira, it's funny, isn't it? Because there's something about this crew that nothing about the acting at all, but because they were quite clinical, weren't they? They had to be. They've been, defrosted. They are superior. There was some great language you had to learn, and they were very clinical looking. And yes, she smiles at the end and all the rest of it, but it was a hard one for a kid to kind of gel with any of them, really. Noah became a baddie. Vira was a bit of a cold fish. It was hard, You seem to be just stuck with the three, really. I always thought.
Yeah, I agree. The characters were a little bit on the bland side in terms of characteristics, but Tom and the other crew made up for it, I think.
Yeah, which is interesting because you think normally, I said I felt sorry for the robots, but in this one, I wasn't. I was more just worried about the TARDIS crew getting injured or something than I was about these humans. And I think it was that it's hard to do to have these colonists of the future who think they're it. And they're a bit off with Tom Baker's Doctor and Sarah at the beginning. And then, I don't know, it's a turnaround. And they also look as though they're in Space 1999.
They remind me of the spaceship travelers in the Invasion
Yes.
of Dinosaurs a bit.
Yes, with the Golden Age. But there's just something about it. And lots of people have got memories, so I'll try and fit them in before we move on. Tony Fowles TARDIS, greetings everyone. Apparently the idea of reusing the sets to save money didn't work out, and Robert Holmes said they didn't save anything in the end. I have to say, when you see the Revenge of the Cybermen set, they changed a lot, actually. Updated a lot. So, yeah, we hear this story, but actually, if you look at every set in Ark in Space and every set in Revenge, there's quite a few differences.
I love the control room in Revenge. I really do. With the screen, I think it's wonderful. That's Doctor Who for me. And I see a set like that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in my zone now. Phone's going off. I'm happy.
I've just realised, Stephen Braddock, I didn't know that Vira went on to play Hilda in Ever Decreasing Circles. Oh, God, she went to that silly jumper with her husband. There were the balls, weren't there? And wow, well, that means she can act. Wow, I didn't know that. Didn't know that at all. And of course, the cliffhanger they should have had when they said that Sarah Jane Smith will be frozen for 3,000 years or whatever, and she won't be able to wake up again. That's the cliffhanger that you could have had just before you had the Wirren coming out the closet.
Yeah. How good? I mean, again, it's so good, isn't it? And also when I also love when they wake them up and there's that pain when they start the heart.
Yeah.
It's so well done. It's like the really sharp, sudden pain they experience, and that's it. And then they come to, but wonderfully done. I mean, that's what I mean about there's really talented people that are writing these scripts, because you don't have to put stuff like that in, but they made sure that went in there. It's wonderful.
So come on then, test your memory. It's not test your memory, it's which ones did actually have an effect on you. That's to the thread as well. The cliffhangers in Ark in Space. We've mentioned, the Wirren coming out the closet, as an example. Any come to mind that really bothered you, became memorable?
It's just the Wirren coming out of the door.
Yeah, that one.
That was a scary. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
that's a
one's
great one.
great.
Yeah, because
Transformation.
it did it. Was it the end of part three when it just for a second you saw his eyes and then it was full Riran, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's just to remind you again that he's been completely devoured. You know, it's really well done. Just this again. This I always I keep saying this again and again and again when we talk about the Hinchcliffe era, but this is a story for me where it goes at such high speed. I don't get bored for a moment in this story. I'm literally from beginning to end, and I don't pause it. I'm excited to get onto the next story because it excites me for the next story every time I watch this one. It's wonderful. It really is.
Well, Stephen Braddock's into the Noah changing into the Ruin as the cliffhanger. David Harding, great cliffhangers in Ark and Space. Any with infected Noah in them were fantastic. I suppose you needed this kind of infection process to help with the dialogue I've mentioned when you are imagining with your head on the pillow going, they get eaten, they get eaten.
Yeah.
And of course, when I was telling the story of being 6 at school, writing a diary, learning Wombling Free and having a beanbag on my head, pretending I was a Saxon in the hall, when they played the radio, you'd always played radio plays and you had to follow. Well, the other thing is, we had a teacher who was a farmer on the side, and he would always take us for walks around the school, and you had them magnifying things, and you were discovering insects. And so it was that period when I was fascinated with magnifying any little thing, and then you get the blooming ruin, which is that was the big problem. So there you go on that one. I hope we've hit that one for everybody. Such an iconic. Look at those costumes; they're so iconic.
Brilliant. Harry's costume. Look at that. I love it.
Well, it was actually, and it was almost. Well, so a bit of this looks as though it was replicated by Shooty's Doctor. You know, the orange cagoule of Sarah's, and then that kind of.
Just a shame he couldn't act, isn't it? Really, whereas Liz can.
And this, I have to say, this is my love of two-parters. As in, this is the two-parter for me. I think of The Rescue, I think of Edge of Destruction, I think of The Awakening, Black Orchid, etc. But this one for me, forget historicals, forget that, forget this. This was fab. Look at the ratings. We're hitting the big time. Tom Baker has landed. The Fourth Doctor's the bee's knees. Every story seems to be a classic. And of course, having been 5 and seen the Time Warrior, now I had to face the time warrior, so to speak, again. And of course, they were like, I call them the Humpty Dumptys, and I was dying to that moment again. So there's your cast. They went for the South African accent, didn't they? They wanted to make it sound alien and all the rest of it. I don't know what Roger Murray Leach really had to do in this one, apart from make a monitor or something. There's not much to do in this one. But Rodney Bennett it was an interesting drama, this one, because there was a lot of scurrying around and a lot of kind of strange shots he had to do to make it really creepy and falling into the pit and all the rest of it.
I mean, again, this story, when you talk these days about that, they struggle to do this, but when you talk about world building and, just from a few references he said, and he's basically telling them to clear off, and he goes, Piccadilly's over that way.
Yeah.
And then to basically, in your mind, you're basically thinking, well, we're in the remnants of what was London then. It's so good. You don't need multi-million pound budgets, do you? They've done it within a few lines. It's so well done.
I like the touch where they on the transmit disc orbs there. They just put like some mold, green mold over it to see that they've been there for years.
It's wonderful stuff. I mean, this this is a great off exploring story. Before you even get to seeing the the Sontaran. It's just, again, and it's linked back to the other story as well. It's wonderful.
Mm. My only gripe about this story is that it's on the video and not on
Yes.
film, 32mm film, but it makes it look a little bit cheaper, perhaps.
We did a review of it recently, and I don't know. It has a consistency though. There's something about it that really works as a lovely little story. I mean, when you think RTD's obsessed with 45-minute episodes, and this really is a 45-minute story, but it has a beautiful cliffhanger, which we'll come to, and classic Doctor Who. Zach Whitten remembering the broken collarbone. I mean, God, fancy. And of course, they teased him, didn't they, that he might lose his job. Dear me. Oh, the stress of that. Because he's really gone for it, hasn't he? But Graham, I've loads of memories of Sontaran Experiment. I mean, the book. I loved the book. Steyer was just so nasty. I don't think they'd do this now. Torturing. Just torturing and nightmares. I really don't think they'd do that at tea time now.
No.
It was so well done. I mean, again, the whole torture scenes you got, where you come across the first one, he's tied up and he's gone without water for days, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's a really strong scene. But then you've also got the bit with Sarah where, like, the soil, the mud is crawling up her legs, Yeah,
Gun,
that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's well done, and it's like, but I love Harry's reaction to it. With the stick, and he's like murdering swine, something like that, and he's like, you can see Harry wants to go and take him on.
Yes. Oh, look at this. I mean, honestly, some moments are iconic. The colour, of her cagoule, as it were, and then the Sontaran, who had changed. He didn't look like Lynx at all, had he? They'd changed the mask because of poor Kevin Lindsay. Bless him, he wanted to breathe. But I have to say, and I could see some people in the thread saying this, the Sontarans, I think they were best done in the Time Warrior and this one. They are so agile, and that's Kevin Lindsay. Fighting, moving. They are not slow clod. I know the script says because of gravity and everything, there should be a little bit laboursome. But by God, I thought the Sontaran temper scared me as a kid because Kevin Lindsay did it so well with John Pertwee's Doctor, and in this one, get him angry. Whoa. And he's very fast and nimble.
Oh, really? Yeah.
There's a very good bit where Kevin Lindsay as Sontaran in the Time where he hits David Dacre, throws him across the table, in anger, as the characterization, of course.
I do think in this story as well, you got the wonderful moment with the Fourth Doctor, and he's going, "You're tiring, Steyer," and he's going, "Am I?" And he literally just flips him with his arm instantly, so he's on the floor out cold. And it's like, that's the power of a Sontaran. It's wonderful. And then he's going back to recharge. But what can you not love about this story? Again, it's one where you've also got the wonderful elements of the story where you've got the human that's betrayed the other humans to escape, and yet they're still trying to save him, and he can't understand why they're trying to save him when he's betrayed them, all part of his research. It's superb stuff, isn't it?
Well, like I say, I'm sat there as a 6-year-old. We had a traitor in Revenge. Davros was a traitor to his own kind in Genesis. As you said, there's a traitor in this one. You're learning, you're learning an awful lot about humanity.
And then you got the Sontaran general with his pips on his collar on the screen as well, which is great. I love all of that, don't you?
Yes.
Not today, thank you.
It's the only bit of the story I didn't land for me, which is bye-bye. Your report can't be finished. I can't imagine really a military, mighty
They'd spend
race
more,
like
wouldn't they?
sometimes going, oh, we haven't got the last page. We haven't got the appendices of the military dossiers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Alexander the Great would have carried on.
Yeah, Sontarans, the bureaucrats, they've got to tick everything off, not the warrior class,
Yeah. They sound like some bloody lawyers in Britain now, don't they? Where they want to
Yeah.
say, oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. He smiled, you can't go after him.
And then, of course, we had the trolley dolly, first ever trolley dolly in Doctor Who.
Yes,
Oh,
the robot. Yeah, a bit flimsy. It was a bit flimsy, wasn't it? Really?
He needed a bit of Castrol GTX, as remember the adverts, and but he also reminded me, of course, of the for mash get smash.
Yes.
There you. Oh, look at. And I've seen so many people go there now, and it looks exactly the same. But that is, again, on the way the BBC and everybody acts now. I mean, they have an intimacy coordinator just to check you don't kind of play with too much bubble wrap.
Yeah.
But there, I mean, that's a health and safety nightmare. That actually, really.
Yeah. Oh, you imagine Shooty there now. He'd be crying at the bottom because he's got bad knees, so he couldn't get up to the second level.
I'm old.
The Aussies would say, "Dicky knees, Dicky knees." So there we go. It's this. Look, I know he had breathing issues with all that mask and everything, even though they adapted it. And Kevin Lindsay became ill, didn't he? But the point is, he's very athletic in that, and I will keep saying that. He must have busted gut with that. And I will always say, well done, Kevin Lindsay, because you scared me to death. Daleks scared me in a different way. Cybermen never quite kind of scared me. Sontarans really scared me. Their eyes, when they're light up with anger and that kind of hiss, and then how athletic they are, that combination is one of the monsters that scared me the most in Doctor Who.
They'll kill you in a second. That's what I always was scared of the Sontarans for that. And what you're saying about Kevin Lindsay, I don't think to this day we've had anyone portray a Sontaran as good as he did. And that's probably why I love the Time Warrior and why I love the Sontaran Experiment, because of his portrayal of a Sontaran. It is menacing. As you go further on, the Invasion of Time, it didn't quite do it, did it? And then you had, you had the two Doctors later on. It just didn't hit the same, did it? Really?
Still wasn't too bad. Derek Dedman's performance was okay. It was okay. I think it sort of trailed off.
I'm a Kevin Lindsay loyalist.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes this is the problem, isn't it? That the actor Peter Pratt playing the Master in Deadly Assassin, we needed him again. The voice is good in Keep of Track and later on as well, Goodison, but it's not. Peter Pratt was just so Phantom of the Opera. It was brilliant.
Sinister. Yeah.
Michael Spice was very good as well as Magnus Greel.
Absolutely.
So you've got Graham. Kevin Lindsay was wonderful as Steyr. The torture, we've got to just say, how the hell I got that past, because it's a grim two-parter. You look at the set, as in the scenery, fantastic scenery, quite dominating scenery, isn't it? So many angles they can play with as a cameraman. I loved where they tortured them, and I loved that little kind of gap where the Sontaran had to come down, didn't he? I wonder how many slips they did, how many accidents. Because it did look a bit muddy.
On his bum quite a lot, I would imagine.
But you had your action man here.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Would they be allowed today to do it without various checks and having a stunt double to do these kind of things? Yeah. It's these people just got on with it, didn't they? This was the job. This is what they were paid to do. Right, let's crack on.
When was the Health and Safety Act introduced? It was 1974, wasn't
it? It's probably connected.
So and probably just to come in.
Yeah, let's get all the bad ones done before it comes in, everybody.
Yeah. There was no health
Yeah.
and safety for that poor little kind of look at him there. He's at the end of that terminus. You're going to go flying.
You'll be fine, Tom. Just jump off this
Yeah.
rock. Ow!
They must have
My
had something
collarbone.
got an insect because that mechanical kind of thing, which is like a drone nowadays, isn't it? But he acts a bit like an insect.
Does, yeah.
Yeah, he's like yeah, I did like that. There he is. Look at his legs.
Well, let's face it. I mean, if you went up to it,
Yeah,
you could
he
push
is,
it
yeah.
over, really, couldn't you?
Yeah. And it was
Flimsy.
Get tied up by it, and then you're just running away, dragging it. That's what you can do.
yeah, it was a bit like no. I mean, it's not as bad as the the little machine in Terminus that
Yeah.
you had to be pathetic. You had to go, Doctor, I can't be bothered running, and my foot's come out my slipper, and it just goes and grabs it. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
run. Or shall I say, it's like the slugs in Dot and Bubble, or the tractators
those.
in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tractators.
Wait, what did he do? He spun one of the things, didn't he? One of the
Yeah,
plastic
yeah.
balls. Yes. But I think that I mean, in
that.
Time Warrior, John Pertwee's behind a few kind of boxes or something, and he sees the helmet come off, and that tongue sticking out, which
Yeah.
they've not really done since properly, have they? Really? But
No.
I think that sphere on the side of a rocky outcrop, I think is one of the best shots in Doctor Who. I just think that's really, it just works.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think again, it's another iconic scene, isn't it? Where he appears. But I loved it since the Time Warrior. I love the spherical ship that the Sontarans have got. It's just it's another iconic ship from the series, isn't it? It just works. I love also the fact that until you get later the comic strips, this is like going into war, into battle. They've all got their own little ships, like little one-seaters to go into combat with.
But I think this is the other thing, John. I personally, having seen the first two Sontaran stories with one Sontaran, think it's one of those species that when it's in Doctor Who should only be a one. Because that's all you need. Can they please put some duct tape over their probic vent?
Yeah.
And so, because I don't agree with get a walkout and you can kill them like in Flux. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A military machine like that would have sorted it out. And when they did War of the Sontarans, when they said they clock off for a few hours like they've got Union, nah, I don't think so.
I think that they make a mistake when they make them too jokey.
Yeah.
In the scripts,
Sinister.
They shouldn't
Yeah.
be jokey.
They always, for me, I always kind of felt them as almost like the Doctor Who universe version of Klingons at the time, where there's not an honor as such, but they're just warriors. They will go into whatever is coming up because all they care about is having the next battle. That's how they should be played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're baddies,
Yeah.
then they should be portrayed as baddies
So
consistently. I know they did that with the Ospreys in Curse of Peladon, where they didn't make them the goodies, but they were just played them like straight.
And of course,
small
before the Daleks or before anyone else, before Cybermen, it was the Sontarans who took over Gallifrey. They were the first. They had time travel technology.
It's their fault. We shouldn't have had that story. David Harden, I like the idea that the Sontarans were a clone race. I do, until I realise there must be trillions in the universe, which is why, get a writer's room before we ever bring Doctor Who back. How do the Sontarans fit into the Whoniverse? They can come up with an idea that there's some sort of decaying genetic thing because they're cloning so much. They must have the same problem as the Cleopatras or something.
I think energy shortage you could do. They've got a power shortage, which is why they're expanding because they need to get more and more resources to keep cloning. which is an issue for them. You're right, Brendan. You can do that sort of stuff that explains it away.
There's so many effects you can do. I mean, I've thought of a few myself because I get very bad tempered with Who pets. Sorry, I just came to mind.
Yeah. Silent rage. Yeah.
I just thought we needed a bit of kind of. I thought we needed a bit of jeopardy. That's what I thought we needed then. So, Sontaran Experiment, followed by, I suppose, the standout of season 12, Genesis of the Daleks, and I'm going to say it now because my brain has to hold on a lot of things. It's a tiny little brain. But basically, everybody, I've got that sauce.
Keeper of the source.
Yeah. Well, his claim is that season 12, part 1, is the best. Part 1 of Genesis of the Daleks is the best part 1 of Doctor Who, and I have to say, I'll say it's the best part 1 of season 12. Definitely, I can't fault it, and it built to one of the most iconic moments in Doctor Who history. But there's your ratings for one. It has the same disease as every Dalek story, doesn't it? That the ratings do fall away a bit.
They're not by much, too much.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, part 1, the way it just drops you into the wasteland and you get that conversation with the Time Lords. I love the arrogance of the Time Lords where they're saying, oh, well, we decided not to waste time and just thought you would agree to it anyway, so we just put you here. Wonderful stuff. And then, but that iconic first scene as the story begins, where you've got the shootout, you see them fall, the soldiers fall, and then you see the other soldiers walk off into the fog, and then you see the Doctor appear. How cool is that?
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much in this. Zach Witten is onto social services about my treatment of the Who pets. They haven't got a union either. Net zero contract, I call it.
They're not real, by the way.
Tell Jamie. No. Stephen O'Neill, part 5 originally had more action in the Dalek incubator room where you had to play with yourself again. What is it about this season? You're either playing with yourself with bubble wrap or you have to put some rub around your neck and kind of go, ah! It ended with a Doctor question of whether he had the right to destroy them. And I love the way even Tom Baker plays with that line even now. Do I have the right? And he laughs. It's hilarious, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The Honeycomb song, have I got the right?
So yes, bigger cast on this one. David Maloney, I like his direction in Doctor Who, and I love some of the shots he has with the Daleks. Graham Harper got the Daleks sussed later on and got their energy, but I do like David Maloney in this. And Terry Nation, who gets a lot of criticism about, you've repeated that plot again. Well, if you're going to be one of those who always throws a criticism, you have to then throw his praise at him as well, because this was an origin story worth it. There's the album I'm talking about, which I know Jeremy will have played to death.
Oh yes, many times.
It's hard when you had the headphones on. The bit when they're getting frisked with that electronic device, I always deafened myself. That was the only bit I thought, no, find the time ring fast, away. Jess wants to throw money at me so I can buy more weapons to kill the puppets early. Thank you, Jess. That's very generous of you. Pepper spray. Or what about a taser? They're getting tasers for prisons now, so I might as well get them for the Who pets. I mean, it's the same idea, I would have thought. So let's have a look. Let's say thank you to you, Jess. How can I say thank you? Here we go.
Oh, flux, you washed him.
There you go. Thank you very much, Jess. I will ponder another torture device for the Who pets as soon as I can. So of course, we had the publicity shots, which I hadn't seen when I was a kid, of course. So, of course, I didn't realize Television Centre was used for all this kind of, big moment. It's funny, isn't it? I remember John Pertwee talking about the Daleks weren't his favourite. And, of course, when I look at these shots here, although Tom Baker played them serious like they all did, the size difference, I kind of understand what Stephen Moffat was trying to do with the paradigms in a way, because they needed to match Matt Smith's height. Because they do look tiny. I remember in Death of the Daleks, they look so tiny compared to John Pertwee.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, but there's no excuse for the Teletubby Daleks at all.
They just need bigger skirts at the bottom. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Others are in the Dalek films.
They were like granny Daleks, the paradigm ones. They had a hunchback. They were like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach Whitten, Genesis of the Daleks was Nation's second go for that story. The first version he wrote, Barry Letts said they'd bought previously. Yeah, I agree. This is what's called creative tension. This is what the great RTD needs, which is somebody who says no. Somebody who just says,
Yep.
you want to try that again? We've had it before. Yeah, and actually just, it's not rude. You're just saying, hey, if you're going to get paid, you've already been paid for that story once. Yeah. And make somebody think. Come on. I don't blame Terry Nation for repeating plots. If it wasn't spotted by the producer, then take the money. I mean, he's not stupid.
And thank God they did. And, it's, when you talk about, like you say, RTD, there's no pushback on him in his era of Doctor Who. Fingers crossed it's his last and he's never coming back. But on this, he comes back with this wonderful script that talks about racial purity, talks about mutants, sets things up for the future with what the Daleks will become. It is wonderful. It is really well done, this story.
Yeah.
But it's a great unraveling. I mean, it's a great six-parter, actually, because it sustains itself. Because most of part one is a bit like the war games. You're very much in that kind of trench warfare, and you were getting schooled like you did with Troughton. You had that, we all know, don't we, Jeremy, having played this album to death, there was the script about bow and arrows and, the mixture, yeah.
Starting with primitive equipment. Ended up with primitive equipment, yeah.
But these writers, Terry Nation, Robert Holmes, Terence Dix in this season so far, and Bob Baker and Dave Martin, they were very concerned and, they were very good at doing stories. And so therefore, in Genesis of the Daleks, when the Doctor stands on a landmine, it's a brief moment and not even a cliffhanger. Meanwhile, 50 years later, let's do a whole story about standing on a blooming mine. Just tells you where have all the ideas gone.
Yeah.
Because, and now everybody has to count. Part one, which I agree with the source, is I think one of the best part ones in Doctor Who history. Part one, they are about 5 perilous moments that could have been cliffhangers, but Terry Nation wasted them just to tell a story.
Yeah, I mean, just the bit when they get, what I love in this story, when they get to the bunker, you know, and before you even get to the fight sequence, you've got, that wonderful line from the Doctor when they find the dead bodies are being propped up, and it's even the dead have got their parts to play, to make it look like it's still manned. Very, very well done, before you even get to the big fight, and and that's terrifying, that bit.
Shades of Beauchesse, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Weekend at Bernie's. No, sorry. But they cleverly, without doing it, touched on Second World War on the far right because of this emblem and all the rest of it, and the salutes and all the rest of it. They did a short version, and and of course we had Guy Steiner, who ended up in our lower lows as one of the Germans, and I just thought it was so gritty, this story, and it was unrelenting. I think part one does that really well. They're tortured, they're inspected, they're questioned, they go on a little kind of trolley ride, They're in the trenches. They stand on a landmine. Then you've got some mutos, and your brain is going, God, they're like mutants. Oh my God, chasing our poor Sarah in the fog. I mean, and it almost felt like, because you were watching it at tea time, it felt like she was at tea time at the end of the day, and it was getting darker, and she had to find somewhere for shelter, and she was getting followed by somebody with a steaming foot. Remember, remember his steaming foot?
Yeah, I remember that. Just
Change
like, oh,
shoes.
yeah,
He was steaming hot.
Yeah, I think that was Terry Nation was doing a nice little symbolic thing about trench foot, because that was one of the that I mean, people can say change your shoes, but my God, steaming.
but what you've got there, like you say, you lead into a fantastic cliffhanger where, you've got all of that in there, and then Sarah sees Davros. We see Davros for the first time with a Dalek, and you're just like, whoa, that creature there, this Davros creature, what a wonderful design. It is incredible. But I always thought to myself back then, how the heck, where was the security for Nida and Davros as they went out into the wastelands? Because the others got shot by the files, but they were all right, tucked away in their little hidey hole area, So,
Yeah.
The Dalek was the security.
yeah, on battery backup. Yeah.
So go on then. We might as well do this, even though I probably know some of the answers. But cliffhangers, Genesis of the Daleks. We were building up to, and we're talking about. Don't ask me about that one. I've got it in the wrong place. When I haven't got it in the wrong place, I've just jumped back. Here we go. You had the mutos with the steaming sock, chasing Sarah, doing some good acting, checking where she is in the fog, and then you got that little ruin, and then, as you know, we all know the moment. You can almost act it out, and she stumbles on it, looks through, and then it's hard to explain, Jeremy. The first time we saw Davros, you weren't quite sure what you were looking at, because you thought, well, that's a Dalek at the bottom. What the hell's going on there? And it was just so. I mean, there's Garmin in his usual clubber in the dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
Casuals.
Yeah, not quite the same, is it? But look, it is War Games, isn't it? And all of a sudden, you've got half a Dalek away from the city. It's a secret experiment. I mean, gee, God, just go on the levels. This is fab. And it's as if Sarah has just stumbled on a great, dangerous moment in the history of the universe. And, you can see her face. And then, again, they didn't just show Davros and go to a cliffhanger. They thought, no, we're going to give you a bit. We'll have a Dalek exterminating some cardboard cutouts, and then he can say this is only the beginning or whatever. Whoa, you got quite a bit. And it's true. You were too old, I think, Jeremy, if you're saying you were a bit older. But in the playground on Monday, we were all impersonating Davros.
I can't remember now. It's a long time ago.
Was it a bit dodgy because we were all walking around like that?
I still think to this day, though, that this Michael Wisher performance, I love Terry Malloy, I really do, but this Michael Wisher performance is just the top dog for me, because he just plays it so well. That just the sinister elements of how he does things. When you're talking about scares, this story is a very scary story, because not only have you got bits where people are being murdered or the Daleks are coming into being, but you've got this torture sequence here, which is incredible. But you've also got where he's talking about doing a little surgery on the brain.
Yes,
he's a good scientist. So, but they'll just adjust him so that they can carry on. All of that is really sinister.
We see, this is what I mean about the cliffhangers. There's we are spoilt in this one. You can either have the Doctor being strangled by a Khaled mutant, as it were, Dalek. You can have the torture. You will tell me. You
This
will.
one. Yeah.
Yes. You will tell me. I mean, Michael Wisher, how does he do it? You know, how many times do I have to say this? And I go up higher and higher and higher, and then my brain explodes. So there's that one. Yes, I will still stick with my one. And then, John, you're saying it's this one. And then I'll ask Jeremy and I'll ask the thread. I'm still going to say I'm sticking with the source. I agree. End of episode 1 is just off the scale because it's the moment. Can you imagine everybody sliding doors? If this moment Sarah stumbles, she's being chased by somebody with a smelly sock, and she gets to the ruin. And when she gets to the ruin, she sees a man with 2 legs standing there telling a Dalek to fire. Would it be the same, RTD? No. Stick him in a Dalek base and shut up.
Well, can I also add for this scene on screen right now? You imagine if that was Shooty Gatwa in that scene, you know, you wouldn't even get within 25 seconds and he'd be bawling like a baby, wouldn't he? And basically spilling the beans on the entire universe and the history of it.
I'll tell you everything. In fact, I'll do my kill clause and get out of the show early.
Don't mess. Neither mess up his hair.
Yeah. Anything, but don't rip off my top fashionable clothes. Leave my Calvins alone. But hey, come on, yeah. So Jeremy, which one are you going for? You've got get electrocuting him, part 3, which is when we had to turn the album over.
That's right. Yes. No, I think the cliffhanger to the first episode is quite impressive. And when he says, and Davros says, perfect.
Yes. The weaponry is perfect, and you're going, well, I don't know, a bit noisy. No, so yes, the electrocution was good. I thought, I just Tom Baker's good. You can electrocute him. You can have electrodes on it. He's really good at that sort of thing. Is Tom?
Sarah falling, that was a good one as well. I didn't
freeze frame.
Yeah, I always remember watching that for the first time, and I was like, how the hell is she going to get out of this one? And it's a really good thing they've done there, isn't it? To make you think, oh, okay, sheer drop.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you fell from our school equipment like that, you're dead. Yeah.
You'd be winded.
Yeah. It's no safety mat below.
Found lying over the horse.
And of course, when they had to act as though, you know, it's affecting us, it's drugging us up, it's radiation. He loves radiation, Terry Nation. Absolutely adores radiation, all from Daleks Part 1 all the way through. But yes, when she...
the clam, don't forget that.
Yes.
Giant clam.
You always need a clam. But her falling in the freezer, which I think it was Jess or Moira said it was the first time ever used in Doctor Who, but she was falling on the outside, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And then suddenly she's on the inside and you're going, hey.
Can I just say as well, there's not only that, but when you start the next episode, it's really sinister when the foal takes her hand and kicks her feet off.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they say people, and he's saying, what is it? He says, they say that people are dead before they hit the ground. I don't believe that. Do you? And then he brings her back up and he's like, get back over there. You know, you're going back to work. And it's like, but you didn't know at that point, it's sinister whether he was just going to let the hand go and kill her. Very well played.
It's very well played. It's sadistic again. Sadism in season 12 seems to be a feature. But then the other thing, and messing around with Liz Sladen, because she was, you know, hanging by that. But I know it, I mean, like, but the other thing is he was a Cockney. Come on back down here. I can't do it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just waiting for the EastEnders music to kick in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was a bit unusual. They didn't overdub his voice in post production, really.
Yeah. But can I ask you guys a question though about this story? When you've seen, you know, the Daleks and you've seen the files in that story, and then you see the files in this story, you know, this is thousands of years before, but they're horrible. The files are just as horrible as the Carleds in this one, aren't they? So it does make you, it always makes me think, you know, when I watch the Daleks now and how peace loving they are, you know, from how sinister they were in Genesis. It's quite the change, isn't it?
Yes. I don't know. It just Jeremy, to me, it just added the grimness that wasn't in the original. You know, this is so grim, and gritty and adult.
It's a dystopian situation.
Yeah.
When you think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people in the thread are singing the praises of Peter Miles and Nyder, of course, and we will get to Nyder, even the Daleks, because it was gritty and grey. I mean, they didn't play with many colours in Genesis of the Daleks, and that was obviously cleverly done, because I remember the Doctor being chased in episode 6 down a curving corridor, very metallic bunker corridor by the Daleks. Remember them being chased and they ran down one way and then another, and you could have a door that flies open in a second and then shuts, but apart from that, you were running away from Daleks. And one of my favorite bits, because this is it, you're 6 and you're watching Davros, seemingly an invalid, seemingly blind, remember, and he was cleverly just biding his time. I loved the bit when Nyder's panicking and you can hear gunfire.
Yeah.
And Davros is just tapping. And then he goes, I hear you. And it's like, and then he unravels a bit of his plan and you're going, oh God, he's clever.
Yeah.
And that bit when the Doctor and Harry see them in the other city, the Thal city, and go, what's he doing here? And let's face it, as a 6-year-old, it's politics. It's boring politics.
It's wonderful as well. And he says that wonderful few lines. I think I'm going to paraphrase, but he says along the lines of, he talks about democracy in there. He said these are the people that will listen to 1,000 viewpoints and try and satisfy them all. This is the creed of cowards or something like that, and it's a wonderful line that he's putting out there. It's Michael Wisher plays it brilliantly. It's very sinister, and you're thinking, well, yeah, he has got the upper hand because they're trying to be democratic, and already when they're forced to make a tough decision, they're already backtracking and talking about deliberations and putting it to a committee again, whereas he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the moment to press the switch, and then he's going to wipe them all out. It's brilliantly done.
I have to say, Genesis of the Daleks forewarned us where we are today in 2025, which is if you try and play the liberal democratic card all the time, clever scoundrels will work out how to exploit it. Because you're right, John, there was that speech that later on Nyder is told by Davros, we'll do a vote, but basically they're idiots, they've already lost. There were so many moments when you could see he was basically saying democracy is a time-wasting measure for him.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you want to take a vote, you get all of them go, oh yeah, vote's very good, we're going to outvote you. And actually, outvoting you doesn't matter if he's got weapons.
Exactly, yeah.
And as a 6-year-old, you're kind of going, gosh, democracy has flaws here. I mean, because democracy, it's a long election campaign. Raven, I've put that little thing in your heart, and waffle. Meanwhile, Daleks getting closer. And I have to say, the Daleks in this story are so close to being like proper tanks.
Yeah.
I love
there's that shot. I think I've got it where it's by the trenches itself, isn't it?
Oh yeah, silhouette.
Yeah.
The paint job on them is very good as well.
And
they're the best they've ever looked.
Well, and this is a brilliant shot to show you how they play with angles, because obviously you never saw that shot. It just looked as though the Daleks went past the Doctor hiding behind a pillar, when of course, look how stupid it really looks. Aren't the Daleks useless? But
they've only got a certain finish. They've only got certain vision, haven't they?
Yeah.
If you remember in Death to the Daleks, they were looking through a little tube.
He's still working. He's still working on their sensors, isn't he? Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where to start with all of the little moments in this. I mean, I love this moment with Harry, when the doctor says, I tried to kind of delay and give them any debris of nonsense but I learned more from them. And there's just such a cleverness to this script. And I will always say, as a child, I was learning cynicism. I was learning about Machiavelli. I was learning, wow, humans can be so sneaky. I'm saying Davros is human, if you get my gist, humanoid. Wow, so much. And this is when we were saying how him and Harry rub each other the wrong way, but the trust here, and how they're
Wonderful.
talked.
And this was a time when I was also learning about technology myself and how to record from the television, audio, sound, and things like that, and how to operate a reel-to-reel tape recorder and stuff. So I managed to record some of the episodes on tape.
I mean, again, I've talked about it before, but I do love the wonderful stories, that Tom talked about, Michael Wisher, and when he's the first one, what was it, where he's doing the rehearsal when he's got a paper bag over his head and he's put eyes in it and he's put a little mouth bit and so he can have his cigarette, and they just see smoke coming out the top of the bag, which is brilliant. And then the two brats, he says, the kids who are kids of an exec at the BBC, and Tom was watching from a distance, and they didn't realize Michael Wisher was was actually in costume, and they came over to see Davros, and he just literally grabbed them with his hand, and he said these little brats ran for it. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah. Now, Stephen O'Neill's brought up one of the speeches, and we've got a battle of the speeches in Genesis. So Stephen O'Neill, I love the speech at the end from the Doctor when they're holding the time ring. Well, it's his voice. I mean, his voice.
Yeah.
Out of something bad will come something good. Now, me and Jeremy, definitely with the album, whoa, it's so good on an album, isn't it? It's such a good sound.
Yeah, it makes,
I remember
your hair prick on the end of the back of your neck when I hear that towards the end.
It does. Now, my favourite speech in Genesis isn't "Do I have a right?" It's the virus.
Yeah.
It's a clever little metaphor for little kids who are trying to keep their heads on how complicated all this is. You're talking about ethics and morals, and I'm 6. I want people dying and running down corridors. So to suddenly say, to hold in my hand, and I got that, to hold in my hand something that could kill everybody. And then that moment when he goes, bang, and then he flips. And, because you think, oh, yeah, Doctor Who's had a very good point there. Davros is listening. But then Davros goes, brilliant. And then he flips, doesn't he? And wow. Oh, God, it's just so... So that's my favourite speech. Of course, Do I Have a Rights up there. But what really gets you in this one, John?
I mean, that speech is phenomenal. I like I say, I do think it's chilling when he goes, like you say, he snaps, and it's like, that power will set me up among the gods. And then the Doctor grabs his hand and his arm, and it's shaking.
Yes.
And then you get that wonderful scene where he presses the life support button and he's starting to go, and he brings him back. It's so good, isn't it?
He says, don't press that button, that's my life support system. It's now, why would you say that?
Yeah. Don't press that button, it's my sewer pipe.
That particular button.
That's my Amazon delivery button. Don't press it.
Don't order that. I don't want to subscribe to anymore. But then
don't press that. It's a nuclear button.
How to be a dictator from Amazon. Hardback.
Don't press the sluice because it'll go all over the floor. But I mean, he had a commode in there somewhere. But
he must have done. If he's still got that part of him, outside in the wasteland.
There was some really clever lines. This is when I just. Doctor Who writing on top of its game. So we've got all the speeches and good characterization, but I love that thinking, logical thinking. So, for example, Sarah is given the line to say, well, hold on a minute. You must know, Nida, the code for that, because Davros can't get out of his chair.
Brilliant.
And then that's when I love Doctor Who, because it's great logic.
Yeah.
You know, no, I don't know the code. Only Davros knows the code. Well, how the hell does that work? And you can see, yeah, brilliant. Love all that.
It is wonderful. I do love the whole, the whole speech. What is it? How poetic it is that they destroy the recording with a Dalek gun. It's great.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it would be ironic, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be fantastic. What yeah, I'm just. But it wasn't even over then, was it? And it wasn't over with some kind of filler. It was clever filler, which is Nyder got away again. As they fired the gun and he got out again. And then I saw somebody in the thread mention this. The iconic moment, the great moment, the Frankenstein's monster moment when the Daleks turn on their creator and the music is brilliant. The crescendo.
Yeah.
It's a thrilling moment, and being that little 6-year-old, it was like, whoa, because it made the Daleks so clinical. I mean, they are scary, but to turn on their creator was
just that hand at the end, mate, where you see his hand and the scream, as he's about to press the button, is fantastic. And of course, we all thought that was the end of him then, which don't know about you. I was gutted. I was thinking, he was so iconic, and clearly the production teams felt he was iconic as well to bring him back.
But then you had another speech. You had the Dalek talk to you.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go to bed. You were told, we're still here. And you thought, whoa. I mean, it's honestly.
And it's also, they've picked it up at the entrance to the bunker as well, haven't they? They've picked it up on their scanners, because they're like, we're getting something through.
Yes.
So they're seeing it as well. I love all of that.
I love the fact that the Thal rebels had a fire stick.
Yeah.
Because we're like, yes, we're getting a bit of footage.
It'd be like that. Have you got a TV license? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you can watch now. You can watch the extermination of Davros.
Have you got a VPN?
Yeah.
Oh, it's asking for me for my identity.
Yeah.
Bilal, what's your code?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, but yes, on a little portable, we all had a little portable in the 70s, and to have that little portable there, and then and remember, she was holding on, because actually she was one of those Stephen Yardley's Muto was lovely with Sarah, and very Geordie. And then of course you had is you bet I forgot, I said
Betan.
Bilal's in the other one,
Yeah.
I mean, she's like a little companion.
Yeah.
The Doctor, in a lot of our stories, the Doctor always says, right, I want you to find a whole rebel army, and she goes, okay then. Really waffle. But
I'm surprised Big Finish haven't attempted to do the whole the Batan Wars era on audio, because because they've tried everything else. I will say, if no one's ever listened to it, Davros from Big Finish, I will give them credit. That's great work. That is top draw, just showing you it wasn't just him being mutated that made him so evil. He was evil to begin with, and it's really well done.
I mean, there's so much. I saw Dudley Simpson was mentioned, and that metallic Dalek, dun, 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 and it and with a bit of organ, I think. Honestly, that absolutely thrilled me. Get the Doctor running round a corner, and that's chasing you. And like I said, when Davros is waiting, and you just see 3 of them, don't you? Okay, advance. Whoa! And of course, they had a mass extermination in Athal City. You saw that creepy bit.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. People are now panicking that you've given Big Finish ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just with a gender swap Davros.
But But it was funny, wasn't it, when you saw that moment when it was all going wrong and and all the scientists being exterminated by the Daleks, and you could see his face as if he almost was turning, going, "This has gone too far."
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. So, I mean, there's so many more. There's even more moments, but we can't do them all because we'd be here all night. So, did you think we've covered Genesis adequately ish?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's a wonder. So we could talk about this for another 50 hours, couldn't we? Easily, Genesis, because it's just such a good story. But
oh yeah.
I think we've done it justice, definitely.
And
Well,
actually,
Look at that.
you've got a few times, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that shot. I mean, that could easily be the Play School studio, and they've just got coloured lighting at the back. But that tank Dalek next to Sandbag Bunker, and Betan has to duck. It's brilliant. That just works. It's a really good silhouette. Good direction. That's all you need. Isn't our argument about Doctor Who? We don't need the Disney budget.
No.
That clearly is in a studio, but it works.
And it could be recreated. That's the
Yes.
thing. And it wouldn't have cost them that much money.
And I don't know about you guys, but from what I saw of the blooming latest Gatwar era, this all looks more realistic and a world lived in than anything that they've come up with. It really does intrigue me to watch the story, whereas from what I saw of their stuff, it just didn't do it. I've said before, because they're just using the Disney tech, the green screen or whatever it's called now. Whereas these guys were geniuses, fantastic sets.
I mean, the only thing I would say is that obviously with the high definition cameras and the high definition TV sets, it picks up a lot of, things that, as we can see now, where the sets have not quite finished or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I suppose the sets today now have to be absolutely perfect and high, because of the high definition.
But I will say, there's arguments about politics and messaging. The people on the other side of Doctor Who. Go on then, I'll trigger you both. This moment here, do I have the right? Is this one of the first moments of the Doctor Who going woke?
No, this is a doctor saying this is a line that I will never cross. Whereas, as you pointed out on your reviews of the Shooty era, his version did cross that line on quite a few occasions. I wouldn't say it's woke. I think he's trying to think of. The thing is, in his head, it's already established earlier in the story with the recordings and they talk about it at the end. He's talking about the alien races that effectively become allies where they're fighting against the Daleks. So he's seeing it that way, but I love this moment because this just tells you everything you need to know about the Doctor. He's not like the Time Lords. The Time Lords would do that in a second. He's got his own morality.
But you see, this is a great moment, and I was obviously being provocative, saying, "Is it him being woke?" I'm just, but
I love it when you do that.
But in a way, some people would argue that, you see. So that's the thing. So, but the thing is, this great moment when basically, even though the Doctor's had 6 episodes to get his head around the mission he was given by the Time Lords, which they basically said end their creation at the beginning, or at least tamper with it. And when he gets to the moment, he says, "Oh, hold on a minute, I'm having doubts." But this moment is unfortunately, I think, diminished by the same Doctor then wrecking Skaro in Remembrance.
Yeah.
Do I have the right? Well, he didn't stop for a second, did he?
No, and I think that's where you know me, you know how much I adore Remembrance of the Daleks, but I always remember there was always that rumor talking about the fact that the 7th Doctor, the plan was he was effectively going to drive himself mad by all his scheming that he would have to regenerate because of how insane he was going, trying to think through all these strategies. So I always got that where I could see the 7th Doctor had that that edge of being unhinged with a lot of stuff he did, whereas the Fourth Doctor didn't. And I agree. I don't think the planet should have been blown up by the Seventh Doctor. The fleet should have been wiped out. That probably would have been the end, or maybe wipe out the Daleks on the planet. Then you've got a talking point. But to actually wipe out the entire solar system is a little bit of an overkill, isn't it, really?
But this scene did give, I know it's hard for the companions to get why, what, how, they always say how hard it was in the 60s and 70s to get any interest in their dialogue. But they were given really good lines here. It was Sarah who said, wait, come on. There's no way you could be entertaining the thought, are you?
Yeah. Well, and what you were just saying about remembrance, don't also forget, mate, that, Trial of a Time Lord wasn't too long ago when he was put on trial for genocide at one point. Here he is. Here he is a little bit in his future, and he's wiping out an entire solar system.
Yeah, just short fusing something. It's giving people ideas. But
the moral question, isn't it? The moral dilemma.
But just like the virus was mentioned as a great idea with the argument with Davros, she comes up with an idea. If it was some disease or something, you wouldn't hesitate. She's given some good argument lines. We should end our evening with Revenge of the Cybermen. So let me just remind you what the Cybermen look like. Yes, as if you didn't know. Obviously, we had a spoiler earlier. No, you had another one, did you say, Jeremy, to show?
No, I only just managed to get this one out in time, you see. Because,
Okay,
I was a bit of a rush.
He's got an entire cyber force, isn't he?
Yes, I've got another one coming, as I said, but
that's brilliant.
Restoration work on it.
That is fantastic. It is fantastic, though. I mean, I'm sure everyone will appreciate seeing that. That's great. So we ended season 12 with the fantastic spectacle. You can see the ratings. We're now in April, May of 1975. I remember going to W.H. Smith's and buying that Target book, and I remember just staring at the front. I honestly, getting the bus back home, I remember just staring at the cover, And I also remember, Jeremy might know this more than John, that Revenge of the Cybermen VHS, which was the first one that came out. I had to walk into this strange video shop, pram shop. Don't go there. It was half video shop and half a pram shop. And at the back, at the counter, where nobody ordered anything because videos cost too much money, you rented a video. You didn't buy videos. And I went to the back and I said, excuse me. And I was only, 16, 17. And I was earning £1 an hour at a hotel. And I was saying, how much was it, Jeremy? Was it £29.95 or £39?
This one, no, this was very expensive. The very first one with the wrong
£49.95.
I think it was about 55 or 75. It was really expensive.
If my mum and dad had listened to it, I ordered it, whatever the price was.
I did as well.
So remember, everybody, £1 an hour. I was doing A levels. Now you do about 7 or 8 hours overnight and get to bed at about 4 a.m. That my life then. So you've killed yourself on a shift to earn £7, and this cost, as Jeremy's saying, about 49 quid.
Very,
my God,
very, very expensive. I mean, the other ones, the next ones, I think were about £20-30, something like that. And eventually, it got cheaper.
Yeah.
Eventually, my whole year's salary gone on this video. But the things we do for Doctor Who, and people say, go and touch grass. How very dare you? Yes. So let's get to it, because of course
I still have the first one, the cassette, the original packaging.
Well, I'm going to start with a controversial question, because I feel like it now after 2 hours. The Vogons had the original Gallifrey symbol. Does that bother you? Does that bother you?
I never noticed it at the time.
No. They were tampering even then, weren't they? They were getting their greasy paws into the history with the humans and the Cybermen.
It's very strange, isn't it? In real life, there's an Indian symbol that I can't go into, which is also a symbol that was adopted by the Germans back in the 1940s.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
So
Now, what I do want to
repeating
say,
itself.
well, look at this. I love this. The way the Cybermen, having been, disappeared after the Planet of Gold got them before, they've now gone into antique restoration because it seemed to me that little table in front of him, why is it there? It just looks as though he's about to visit the repair shop or something,
Yeah.
I like that little bit where there's a little bit of electronics just strapped to the wall with the
Yeah, exactly. They're literally scraping together everything they can to fly at this
part
point.
of the back of an old TV set. So.
Yeah.
But I cannot, and I know Doctor Who fans who are older than me or all the rest of it, they either love the Earthshock look or they love the Invasion and earlier 60s look. Or Mondosian, if you want to go for that one. But these are my Cybermen. This is my introduction to Cybermen, and I love them for what. Mind you, they still looked pretty metallic. I thought more than the Earthshock ones. I personally think so. It's only because they had their hands on their hips that anyone had a problem, and they have Hoover pipes around their head. But I thought they were lethal, and they still had the chest unit. You see, these are the new sets from Nerva Beacon that weren't in the other one.
Great.
These are all additions.
But they've saved money, obviously, by the gangway, the walkway, because that's exactly the same.
Yeah, they've had, and then they had the crew quarters, and then what's his name? I've forgotten his blooming name. Idiot me. The baddie.
Kelman.
Yeah, Kelman. So yeah, I think this is a lovely, straightforward story. I think it's lifted by the outside broadcast of Wookiee Hall. That really lifts it. And as I said when I talked about Ark in Space, I like the fact this one has two locations. You've got Nerva Beacon and then you've got Voga. I think that works really well.
I mean, this inspires me. I mean, I've still got my limited edition. They're about this big. The Revenge of the Cybermen, and I've got the three. I've got the Cyber Leader, and I've got the two lieutenants, like either side. One of them's holding the control device as well, which is really cool. So I'm going to have to get them out and put them back on display this week because this has done it for me tonight. Seeing them looking like that, got to do it.
And the music, we talk about Dudley Simpson, but the music here when they're marching. And I don't know, it really works.
Carrie Blyton's music, yeah. I like the ding dong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of relentless, isn't it? As they're marching forward.
Yes.
I love the yo-yo bit though, where they appear with the transmat. He's doing the yo-yo, and the Cyberman just pushes him to get him to walk and move forward.
I like the bit where the Vogons are firing on the Cybermen in the caves. I think someone's trying to attract your attention.
And then the unfortunate bit where they're firing at each other, aren't they? The civil war's happening, and they're literally about a meter away, and there's this tiny little train. Whee! The same train that I think was really used in Genesis.
Yeah.
They
nearly fell off it.
Now is Elon Musk a Vogan? Because that skyrocket and saying, oh, I love my rockets and all the rest of it, because we had the rockets in the Thal City and the Khalid Dome and all that nonsense about that. Then you've got the rocket in this one. And I just there's Elon Musk before its time, and all the North Korean dictator, when Trump said, oh, I've got a bigger rocket than you.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, the outfits, I love the Vogons. I think they look really cool. Look at that. Superb stuff.
And of course, this was David Collier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
David
Collins, I know. Peter Venkman here. By the time I special ordered my first tape, I had to search for the masters, but I could pay in installments, leave a small deposit and pay in full later.
He's just paid them off.
Yeah. It's pain. It really is pain being a Doctor Who fan. Duncan, this is a story that I actually read the target novel before the episodes. Yeah. And sometimes it's like Moonbase. I read the Moonbase before I saw the episodes, and I read the Tomb of the Cybermen before I saw the story. And that's a tester because the story is good and really atmospheric. And I love my target books.
The only time I saw that the images of the Cybermen were the 1960s one in the annuals, Patrick Troughton annuals.
Yeah.
Second hand, so that's how I knew about the Cybermen, and obviously the different design at that particular time.
I still haven't been to Wookiee Hole.
Have you not? I grew up. I grew up not far from Wookiee Hole, so we always used to have a school trip to Wookiee Hole, if not parents taking us there, and it was always this is the witch, and this is where Doctor Who was filmed here as well. And you're like, don't tell me about the witch. Get me to the bit where they filmed Doctor Who, you know. And it's a wonderful. No wonder they chose it, because it's a wonderful location. If you get the chance, do go to it. It's great. And of course, you've got the infamous scene, where Liz almost drowned as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is David's asking about there. So yes, it is true. Health and safety in those days.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Stephen Braddock, Revenge of the Cybermen was always let down by the plasticine planet. But it has been upgraded very well, and sometimes I'm appreciative of that upgrade, like the Rutan in Horror Fan Rock. I think that's made that now almost a perfect story. And Revenge of the Cybermen is helped because I'm proud of season 12. And when you've got your non-Doctor Who fan friends who say, go on, show me one then. I'd be embarrassed to show them episode 4, but not now. Not now.
Mm.
There we go. There's the marching. A bit of a massacre, really. Vogan massacre. While why do Cybermen have handbags? They're walking around.
I love that bit where you got the indicator on the control unit, and it's going closer to the danger level, and then in the next scene it goes back again, and it comes back again.
Yeah. I mean, I love, mind you, let's say it again. This has a great moment when we have the rock fall of polystyrene, and then it's Harry Sullivan is an imbecile.
Brilliant.
I think language you're not allowed to use now, in our right on world where you're not allowed to call anybody this, that, or the other, but that one works. And again, you had Sarah, you had quite a few. We had a moment in Sontaran Experiment, but you have a couple here where Sarah and Harry have a go. There's the moment they're chained by Gold, and it's like he's being a bit of a wuss, and there's an argument there. There's the argument when she's got the space plague and he's holding her. There's some great bits.
Well, the comedy bit between those two as well, when he's basically telling her she's got ankles like a cart horse.
Yes.
Yeah. My ankles aren't thick.
Yes, that's not how to chat up anyone. Yes, that's bad. Harry, you didn't do it well then. Graham, I always think the plague effect is good in this. Yes, the red veins. We'd had the Green Death when they tried to have that glowing effect with the green, which scared me in black and white. But I thought the space plague in this one worked really well. It was the acting as well, to be honest. I mean, whether you thought you could see something stuck on the skin, when it did that special effect, it really worked. But the breathing of the actors, when they're really... I had really bad asthma as a child, and my lung collapsed when I was 2. So I always related to this space plague thing because their breathing really bothered me. It really felt like proper acting, It's like, whoa, they're really dying. And again, I love my logic. I love the idea that she could be cured of the space plague just by transferring her to the planet Voga. Brilliant. Genius.
And you know what I always found with this story as well, although they established that, the Cybermen were, they had a weakness to gold. They're on a gold planet, with weapons that are filled with gold bullets, and yet they're not taking the Cybermen down. So I always put in my head that Cybermen have built some sort of contingency in so that they can carry out their mission.
yeah. I mean,
What they
we
needed
would
It's a
think,
headcanon thing, yeah.
it needed a
yeah.
glitter gun.
Yeah. Because like those, you're telling me those weapons there that they wouldn't have gold bullets.
Oh, well, David, you've just reminded me while my brain's all in the toilet, so to speak, because I was about to ask John, because on John's channel, Sci-Fi Chronicles 79, we very recently did a Cyberman special. And to be honest, we both came up with the same conclusion that, a bit like I said, Sontaran should be on the Todd. Cybermen should be kind of splintered across the universe, didn't we? That's what, anyway. Go on, give us an advert for your channel, Sci-Fi Chronicles 79, and what you were discussing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So, yeah, as you said, Sci-Fi Chronicles 79 on YouTube, and yeah, we did a review of the Cybermen, which was good fun, wasn't it? And we do Doctor Who reviews of classic stories, sort of Hartnell onwards, and we also do Stargate SG-1 live watch-alongs on Sunday nights as well. So lots going on, and movie reviews as well. So if you can't find anything on the telly, come and check it out.
There you go. But yeah, we did the Cyberman one so recently, and we did discuss all this lot. I mean, yeah, the Cybermat was mentioned, and I again, because it was my introduction to Cybermats, I was watching Nightmare in Silver the other day, where they're like Cybermites, and then of course the Cybermats that you see in Tomb of the Cybermen are different as well, which I think actually, if I'd given Jeremy more time, he does have one. But the
Just one.
That's the one at the moment. Yeah.
You're slipping, mate. You're slipping.
You know what I'm like when I'm talking I'm a sucker for Cybermen.
So yeah, the Cybermat that attacked Sarah Jane is the one that one really got me, because there was a strange sound effect.
Yeah.
And you know, she's screaming away, and it came out the blue. I really liked. I liked that effect. Yeah, I think that's, yeah. I agree with whoever said it in the thread. So I'm repeating all on my breath. Right, there you go. Look at that set. Look at that. He won a BAFTA. I didn't know. Look at that. He's got his BAFTA in the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved. Yeah, loved all this.
It's interesting. That's Kevin Stoney, and he was in The Invasion. So he's doing another Cyberman story there.
Yes, he's almost got the same hooded thing with the mask. And there, he's got a robe which I wish the Sea Devils wore later on, to be quite honest, because at least it's got a bit of that fish netty kind of effect, hasn't it? Yeah. But yes, ponderous wizard, so to speak. And there's our other friend there. Great design, actually. There's a yeah, I loved all the Civil War of this. I absolutely loved it.
It's great. Do you ever in your head go back to sort of what our solar system was like in the far past? You know, because we had Ice Warriors, we had Cybermen, we had blimmin' Sutek on Mars as well. You know, we had a full complement. We had Sea Devils, we had Silurians. You know, talk about that. They wouldn't have all got along well. Oh, I've given Big Finish another idea now.
Don't you dare. Well, Stephen Moffat tried it with a Pandorica. I mean, that nonsense when they were all stood next to each other.
The Monster War.
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah, rich solar system. No wonder the Time Lords keep coming back to our area.
Now you know Terry Nation gets it in the neck from some Doctor Who fans for repeating plots and stuff. So does Jerry Davis, is he in a different category? Because some say Revenge of the Cybermen wasn't the best one, blah blah blah. I mean, where do you stand on that? Because I like this story, as you know. I like this story. It works for me. It does create, as I said on John's channel, it does create a problem which I've really hated. It's a bit like the Probic event of the Sontaran. We've now introduced gold, and now Adric's badge can kill you. Now Ace can fire a gold pellet and kill you. That's
You can't have a monster that's totally invincible, otherwise there'd be no story with that. The Doctor wouldn't win.
I think you can. I think they need to get rid of something which is just well, they did, which was such a critical flaw. You know, because we were talking about it, weren't we? You know, we were thinking, well, you're evolving all the time. You're building tech to survive. You're telling me you haven't come up with some sort of guard or some sort of filtration system that stops gold clogging up your chest units, you know?
Yeah, it's and I don't know, it just became too easy, didn't it? You saw it in Earthshock and various things, and in the end, I just thought it's almost like the Doctor just says to any companion, "Just have you got a bag of gold? Use your gold ring, use your gold
Yeah,
badge."
it became the new radiation, because obviously when you look at 10th Planet, it was the radiation that killed them off, wasn't it? So the gold just replaced the radiation as being fatal to Cybermen. So whatever next.
Well, Zach written quite rightly. I remember this when, sorry. Robert Holmes completely rewrote Revenge, but Jerry Davison kept his name on it. The classic trick, yeah. So basically, yeah, I know there'd been some problems and all the rest of it, as usual in Doctor Who, because it was only a 5-story season. So your favourite of the season, mine's Genesis, of course. I think my weakest is Robot, actually. And it's just such. I'm not Welsh, but it's a tidy season. It's a tidy season. Jeremy, just to wrap up, your high and low of this season.
It's very difficult, really, to say which one is your favourite, because they are all very good. But Genesis of the Daleks is, and a close second is Revenge for me. I think Sontaran Experiment is probably the slightly weakest, but it's still fantastically brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it. You know what I mean? There's not a dud in any of those in that season at all.
No, there's some great stories. John?
Yeah, I mean, I can't break with you guys. It's Genesis of the Daleks for me. It's just so iconic as a Doctor Who story.
He agrees with me.
He agrees, yeah. And then I would say the weakest will be Robot. But saying weakest is a very strange thing, because it's such a solid season.
Yeah.
It's great.
And Zach is reminding us it was actually a 6-story season, but they held back. Probably a clever decision, because maybe they thought they were on the money. And look, I've got so many memories of this period. I can tell you almost every day what I felt about it. But Terror of the Zygons in late August, before you went back to school, that worked. What a great intro to a new season. And we're all awaiting that, aren't we? And of course, me and John just a few weeks ago did our season 13 deep dive. If you like our deep dives, tell us what you'd like us to do next. Me and John just quickly said season 12. Because we both love it so much. This is about love of Doctor Who. There's enough moaning about Doctor Who. But write to us and tell us what you'd like a deep dive on next. Don't make it a series where there's 28 stories, because no. But no, thanks, lads. These have both been at work today, and so thank you for giving me all your time tonight. So thank you for that. Hopefully everybody felt the love. He won't feel the love, because Cybermen have no emotions, Jeremy. So good night, everybody. And as I've got at the bottom there, please check out Sci-Fi Chronicles 79. Bye, everyone.
Take care all. See ya.